A profound dread settles in my bones, a truth I can no longer deny. The weight of what I've set in motion steals my breath. Now I take the step that cannot be undone. I have never expected Empress Cang Yue to have such a silver tongue. You have truly impressed us. Feng Hengkong's voice was cold. Rather than complimenting, it was more of being sarcastic. You already know what kind of identity Zuer has, yet you still kept saying that this action could save my divine Phoenix Empire's dignity. However, what you truly want is to make the noblest princess of our divine Phoenix to marry your Blue Wind's prince consort as a concubine. Not only is her position lowered, she is even directly lower than you. Empress Cang Yue, your words clearly speak that from now on, our divine Phoenix will be lower than your Blue Wind. Oh! Before Feng Hengkong finished yelling, he was interrupted by Cang Yue's drawn-out tone. She said with a faint smile on her face, "So the reason the Phoenix Sect Master reacted so severely was because you are unwilling for little sister Zuer to become a concubine. If so, then this Empress will compromise. After little sister Zuer marries this Empress husband, she will be a first wife, the same as this Empress, and our positions will be equal. This has never happened in the 1,000 years of history of Blue Wind Nation, and this can count as this Empress making an extremely huge concession on behalf of the imperial family's dignity for peace between the two nations. Phoenix Sect Master should be satisfied like this." Feng Hengkong's anger and his expression stiffened at the same time. Halfway through Cang Yue's words, he suddenly realized that the reason Cang Yue requested for Feng Zuer to become a concubine was to conveniently retreat for the sake of advancing at this moment. He completely stepped into the trap that Cang Yue had set up. Cang Yue continued to speak tirelessly. Other than that, this Empress was the royal princess of Blue Wind back then. When I married Xianxia, of course I treated my husband as someone above me. Even though I have now ascended to the throne and became the Empress, I still treat my husband as my everything. And since this Empress is the ruler of Blue Wind, this Empress, husband Xianxia, has the most noble position in Blue Wind and is not the prince consort he once was. The person little sister Zuer is marrying is naturally not the prince consort of Blue Wind, but instead the person who has the highest and noblest position in Blue Wind Nation. How is this degrading? But Phoenix Sect Master's words seem to have reminded this Empress. Since little sister Zuer is at the most noble, highest position of the divine Phoenix Nation, then she naturally has the highest right to speak for herself. If so, then about this matter, it seems that it will be more appropriate if this Empress asks little sister Zuer herself. Feng Hengkong was speechless for a long time. He wasn't able to accept this all of a sudden. He, who had been the Emperor of Divine Phoenix for 100 years, was being manipulated by a weak nation's Empress, who had just ascended the throne for 3 years at the age of about 20. Little sister Zuer, are you willing to marry Xianxia, be with him forever, and calm the hatred between the two nations? Cang Yue turned towards Feng Zuer. Her aura that was as sharp as swords when facing Feng Hengkong transformed into a gentle smile. When Cang Yue was going head-to-head with Feng Hengkong, Xianxia didn't speak, and Feng Zuer was also silent. Since the moment Cang Yue mentioned for her to marry Xianxia, she had been stunned the whole time. She blinked her crystal-like bright eyes and asked softly, "Marrying Big Brother Yun, is that forever?" "Of course it's forever." Cang Yue smiled and said, "After you marry your Big Brother Yun, you will belong to him and he will also belong to you. You two can have everything of each other, have each other's shoulders to lean on, accompany each other forever, and no one can stop or restrict it." "Then, what Empress Sis said before, are those all true?" Feng Zuer's beautiful eyes became even more blurry. "Of course." Cang Yue knew what she wanted to ask. "Big Sis is the Empress of Blue Wind Nation. Like your royal father, our words are as good as gold. If you are willing to marry your big brother Yun, then your divine Phoenix wouldn't need to apologize in public, cede away their territory, pay tribute, and your royal father would be able to return to divine Phoenix at any time unharmed. As for you, you would can stay with your big brother Yun from then on, and you can be together as long as you want." Feng Zuer was only here to atone the sins for her royal father. As long as she could atone for those sins, she was willing to endure any punishment. However, she never imagined that the punishment that Empress Cang Yue gave in the end was something like this. In her own perspective, everything that was happening before her eyes, this type of way to atone for the sins, was just too wonderful. If it's like this. Feng Zuer carefully turned her eyes towards Xianxia. But just as she touched the corner of Xianxia's clothing, she retreated under a strange, unfamiliar emotion. Her heartbeat sped up many times and her voice became softer. "Of course I do. Zuer," Feng Hengkong's low roar interrupted Feng Zuer. "You are still young. This is not as simple as you think. This is an important affair that will affect your whole life. This is something that can't be rashly and impulsively decided for anyone in their life." "I know," Feng Zuer spoke softly. "I am rarely in contact with the outside world, but from the memories that Lord Phoenix God has bestowed me, I roughly knew about many things. I know that if a woman was to marry a man, it would be for her whole life. But if it was Big Brother Yun for a lifetime, wouldn't it be wonderful? Both Big Brother Yun and I own the bloodline and Phoenix soul that was bestowed by Lord Phoenix God. Thus, my soul can clearly feel the warmth that Big Brother Yun's soul brings me. 3 years ago at Phoenix Perching Valley, those days that I was with Big Brother Yun were the happiest days in my life. Not only did Big Brother Yun save my life and awaken my Phoenix soul, he has even made me feel the greatest bliss in the world. And my soul can feel that in this world. There will never be another person who can make me feel this way. Just like yesterday, when I saw Big Brother Yun once again, that was an immense joy that I had never felt before. If I am to atone for our sins like this, then I really am willing to spend my life atoning this way." Feng Zuer spoke, mumbled, and couldn't help but giggle softly. The moment that her smile bloomed, the serious great hall instantly became warm. Cang Yue's expression was a little complicated, but it only lasted for a short moment. She glanced slightly at Xianxia and then smiled with warmth. She could tell that Feng Zuer's feelings towards Xianxia was more than just gratitude, but she had never thought that it was so deep and simple. Perhaps, towards Feng Zuer, who had the purest soul, the appearance of Xianxia was completely fatal. Feng Hengkong's face and his whole body felt a deep sense of powerlessness. The Phoenix soul was originally a whole, and they attracted each other under instinct. He would rather conclude that the attraction between the two of them was caused by their Phoenix soul. "Zuer," Feng Hengkong spoke. In his voice there was a trace of pain and helplessness. "Do you remember when you returned from Lord Phoenix God, the things that Royal Father said to you?" "I remember." Feng Zuer didn't think and nodded her head softly. "Royal Father told Zuer that I cannot leave Divine Phoenix City before I am 17, and I cannot have any contact with anyone other than close relatives. I cannot leave Divine Phoenix Nation before I am 20, and I must start to use my own eyes to get to know and understand the whole world." Feng Hengkong nodded slightly. Only when facing Feng Zuer would his eyes turn gentle and be devoid of impurities. "Zuer, you grew up by Lord Phoenix God's side since you were young. You are far too pure and kind. Even though Royal Father wants to protect you forever, you are bound to grow up, and in the future, you will even need to be in charge of the whole Divine Phoenix. So, even if Royal Father couldn't let go, my protection for you would only continue until you are 17. After 17, Royal Father planned to take you to see the world across Divine Phoenix Nation in order for you to realize the fickleness of human nature. Once you turn 20, Royal Father would completely let go and let you get to know the whole profound sky continent, and then let you decide everything for yourself independently. But in the past 3 years, you were always in a coma. Now, even though you are exactly the same from 3 years ago, and even though you looked like you didn't grow at all, you are already 19. However, Royal Father wasn't able to take you to see our Divine Phoenix Nation, and in half a year you will be turned 20. Royal Father, Feng Zuer mumbled softly. Even though 3 years were taken away from you, the things that Royal Father had said back then would not be taken away. Once you are 20, you will be able to decide everything for yourself, and no one can interfere in your decisions, so give Royal Father half a year of time. Feng Hengkong's eyes and face were slightly lowered. In this half a year you will grow, get to know, and expand your horizon. More than that, you can clearly understand what kind of feeling you have for Xianxia. If your feelings towards Xianxia are still the same as today half a year later, Feng Hengkong's fist under his long sleeves tightened. Then Royal Father will personally call the shots as you wish. Even if the entire sect objects, Royal Father will still do it for you. And if you changed your mind then absolutely do not force yourself. Royal Father will have a way to deal with blue wind. Amen. Feng Zuer hesitated for a little bit, but she still nodded softly. Zuer will listen to Royal Father. Empress Cang Yue, you heard it. It is not that Zuer and I are unwilling. It's just that it concerns Zuer's future. It needs to be carefully considered. I can entrust Zuer to Xianxia, but it is not to protect the dignity of Divine Phoenix. It is because of Zuer's wish in her heart. But It at least needs to be half a year later. Very well. Contrary to Feng Hengkong's expectations, Cang Yue didn't use the opportunity to take advantage of him. Instead, she nodded cleanly and sharply. Phoenix Sect Master's words are as good as gold. With your words, it counts as this Empress agreeing to your request. However, this Empress will not give away half a year for nothing. During this half year in which your divine Phoenix Empire will make your final decision, Feng Zuer must stay in my Blue Wind Nation. As for you, you can leave any time. Cang Yue's tone was determined, stating that there was no compromise. Feng Hengkong's eyebrows suddenly rose. Feng Zuer grew up by the side of the Phoenix God, and she had never left divine Phoenix City before yesterday. How would he accept leaving her in Blue Wind this easily, and even leave her beside the extremely dangerous Xianxia? He was just about to reject it unyieldingly, but when he raised his head, he saw how Feng Zuer wasn't worried at all. On the contrary, she seemed to be looking forward to it. At that instant, his heart softened as he swallowed back the words about to burst from his throat, turned around and suddenly flew up towards outside the hall. Xianxia, come with us. Give me a moment. Xianxia lifted his head to look at Feng Hengkong. He then nodded towards Cang Yue and Feng Zuer, and also flew out after Feng Hengkong. After Feng Hengkong flew out of the main hall, he flew in a straight line until he was in front of the divine Phoenix Ark. He turned around, looked at Xianxia in front of him, and with a face devoid of any expression, he said in a low voice, Xianxia, in our life, we have rarely thanked anyone. But 3 years ago, we did indeed want to thank you because you risked your life to save Zuer's life. Based on just that, if you were alive 3 years ago, no matter what you wanted, we wouldn't hesitate at all. What do you want to say? Xianxia indifferently asked. Ever since Zuer woke up from her 3-year coma, the hatred in our heart has grown to a murderous extent. And now, our hate for you runs even deeper than our bones. Zuer grew up beside the Phoenix God, so she hasn't seen her royal brothers that many times. Because of that, she may not feel even a slight sorrow for their deaths, and it will be even more difficult for her to hate you for it. But they were our own sons. You killed 4 of our sons, and even if we crush you into bone dust, we wouldn't be able to dispel the hatred in the depths of our heart. And even with all of this, that is not what we hate the most about you. What we hate the most about you is that you actually, a strange bang sound came out from Feng Hengkong's mouth. Xianxia could tell that it was at least one tooth getting crushed. What Feng Hengkong felt for him was a true teeth-gnashing hatred. I feel the same way towards you, Xianxia responded coldly. Feng Hengkong turned around. He didn't have to look at Xianxia's face, so he could at least slightly control his emotions and hatred. The things that I said to Zuer just now was definitely not because we are giving in to protect the dignity of divine Phoenix, and definitely not because we have forgiven you. All of them are only because Zuer's feelings towards you is real. Heh, Empress Cang Yue has really grasped our weak spot. If we forcefully stopped it, it would indeed break Zuer's heart. For Zuer, we can compromise with anything. Heh, the reason you asked me to come out was just to tell me how great you are as a father, Xianxia scoffed. Feng Hengkong wasn't angered, instead his voice slowed down. Just based on you saving Zuer, I can at least believe that you won't hurt her. Now that Zuer's Phoenix soul is awakened, there are not many people in this world who can hurt her. As for having her stay in Blue Wind close to you, perhaps we don't need to be too worried about her safety this way. And it is indeed time for her to get to know this world. However, while Zuer stays here, you must promise me one thing. Feng Hengkong's voice suddenly became very harsh from the way he spoke. It was obvious that he had already agreed to leave Feng Zuer in Blue Wind for this half a year. Say it, Xianxia responded. With Zuer's soul, after half a year, her feelings towards you shouldn't have any negative changes. This half a year is more to give our sect some time to react. In the future, I may marry Zuer to you, but before Zuer's powers are fully awakened, you must not taint her Phoenix God's body. You should know that it will seriously hinder her powers from awakening. Feng Hengkong harshly spoke with his back turned towards Xianxia. Xianxia moved his eyebrows, and then he lightly said, Don't worry. Even though the life and death of Divine Phoenix Sect doesn't concern me, I will not do anything that will ruin Zuer's future. Good, we can believe you. Although Feng Hengkong hated Xianxia to the bones, Xianxia was still a person who had risked his own life to save Feng Zuer. As such, in the bottom of his heart, he could never question whether or not Xianxia cherished Feng Zuer. But I also have something to say, and you must remember it, Xianxia said coldly. In the future, even if I am with Zuer, I will never call you royal father. Feng Hengkong's body slightly stiffened. He didn't say another word anymore, and just stepped out in the air towards the Divine Phoenix Ark standing in front of the door of the Divine Phoenix Ark. He stopped his heavy footsteps, swung his arm behind him, and threw a red jade stone towards Xianxia. Xianxia lifted his hand and caught it, and just as it touched his palm, a warm feeling spread over his body. With this phoenix stone, you can send a sound transmission to me within 150,000 kilometers. Within this half a year, if Xuer is in any danger or accident. When the ark's door completely opened, Feng Hengkong didn't continue speaking. Only until he stepped into the profound ark did he finally turn around and met eyes with Xianxia. You're leaving without saying goodbye to Xuer? Xianxia put the phoenix stone away and asked. No matter how unwilling we are, a daughter is eventually going to marry someone. Feng Hengkong's eyebrows creased as he mumbled. May as well, at least it's a lot better than the likes of Yi Xinghin. It was unknown whether he was talking to Xianxia or to himself. The ark's door completely shut as the divine phoenix ark rose into the air and shot out into the sky in the blink of an eye. A surging blast of air instantly swept across blue-wind Imperial Palace. Royal Father, the sound of the divine phoenix ark igniting caused Feng Xuer to fly out of the main hall. But she was only in time to see traces of a red shadow vanishing to the west. Your Royal Father has left, Xianxia turned and said to her. But why did Royal Father leave just like that without even bidding me farewell? Feng Xuer's petite face displayed slight bewilderment. This was the first time she had, ever since she was born, left her father's side and divine phoenix sect. Your Royal Father was worried that once he saw you, he would be reluctant to part with you. Besides, he believes in you as you are right now, and of course, he trusts me as well. Xianxia said, smiling. You may need to stay in Blue Wind Nation for a long period of time in the future. It's not just about being unable to meet your father and your kinsmen. You'll also be surrounded by strangers. Are you afraid? Oh, of course not. Feng Xuer gently shook her head and smiled slightly, because Xuer still has brother Yun by her side. Xianxia stepped forward and took her hand. With a gentle tone, he said, Rest assured, Xuer. During this period of time in Blue Wind Nation, you don't have to take anything upon yourself. You can do whatever you want to do, go anywhere you want, and if you're willing, I will accompany you. Amen. Feng Xuer vigorously nodded her head, her brows curved into crescents as she smiled. With just a few words from Xianxia, her panic was quelled, only leaving overflowing happiness in her soul. Thank you, big brother Yun. Brother-in-law? The sound of the wind whooshed behind them as Xia Yuanba rushed forward. Number 1 under heaven, Dongfeng Xiu and Qin Wusheng followed right behind him. Upon seeing Xia Yuanba, Feng Xuer smiled demurely. We meet again, bulky big brother. Xuer has yet to thank bulky big brother for protecting us back then on the primordial profound ark. Hee, Xia Yuanba laughed embarrassedly. It's my duty. It's been 3 years since we last met, but little sister Xuer doesn't seem to have changed much. But bulky big brother seems to have gotten bigger. Feng Xuer curiously looked at Xia Yuanba. 3 years ago, Xia Yuanba blocked Yi Xinghin and Feng Feiyin with his body, allowing her and Xianxia to escape from the primordial profound ark in addition. He was Xianxia's most important family. Thus Feng Xuer held strong familial feelings for Xia Yuanba. She suddenly smiled and said, Also, bulky big brother has become really awesome, even reaching the 6th level of the sovereign profound realm. You might even be stronger than grandfather. Hee, Xia Yuanba blinked. How did you know? Did brother-in-law tell you about this? Xianxia laughed. Xuer is now a level 8 monarch. For her to sense the level of your profound strength is a piece of cake. At number yen%, wah, Xia Yuanba exclaimed in surprise, slack-jawed. Behind him, Dongfeng Xiu and Qin Wusheng jolted, nearly falling from the sky. Level 8 monarch, Number on Under Heaven asked, flabbergasted. The 21-year-old Xia Yuanba attaining the frightening power of a level 6 monarch was already enough to startle him. Yet this young lady in front of him, with a face not inferior to little demon Empress, and whom Xia Yuanba had just said was not yet 20, was actually an 8th level monarch. That was far higher than his father's greatest ambition under heaven. In this profound sky continent, how could there be such an unfathomable and illogical existence? As expected of little sister Xuer, that's amazing. Xia Yuanba gulped and stammered out. Dongfeng Xiu and the rest had long been dumbstruck. A level 8 monarch was a concept that they didn't even dare to think about. Xia Yuanba shook his head and finally got down to business. Brother-in-law, I saw that Feng Hengkong has boarded the divine phoenix ark and left. Why did little sister Xuer stay behind? What happened? About this. Xianxia was about to explain the gist of the situation to Xia Yuanba and Dongfeng Xiu when he suddenly realized that Cang Yue hadn't left the hall. He frowned and loosened Feng Zuer's hand. Zuer explained the matter to them simply. I'll go check on Yue. Xianxia then swiftly flew back to the Blue Wind Hall. As expected, Cang Yue was seated on, to be more accurate, slumped on the Phoenix throne. Her face was pale and her aura was weak. Yueqi immediately rushed over, reaching out to grasp her shoulders and gently infused a stream of profound energy into her body. Are you all right, Yue? Cang Yue nodded slightly. She laid her head against his shoulder, her face displaying a tired yet contented smile. Her profound strength was only at the spirit profound realm, yet she did not yield to the immense pressure from Feng Hengkong. Once Feng Hengkong left, the pressure vanished and she almost immediately collapsed. Just focus on resting, don't think of anything else. Feng Hengkong has already left, leaving Zuer behind. Our Blue Wind Nation is safe. Xianxia murmured as he embraced her affectionately. Amen, Cang Yue weakly asserted. All of these are because of husband if it wasn't for husband. No, Xianxia shook his head. All these are because of Yue. If it wasn't for Yue shouldering everything in the past 3 years, we wouldn't have such an outcome today. Compared to what Yue has done for the past 3 years, what I've done these past couple of days are not worth mentioning. Heh! Cang Yue laughed softly. There was no shadow of stress or darkness in her laugh. My junior brother Yun, my husband, he can always make me happy. Yue, you've suffered so much these 3 years that I don't even have the courage to think about it. I hate the Divine Phoenix Empire, but it's only right that you hate them more than me. Xianxia voiced out his heart's question. Why did you make such a decision when facing Feng Hengkong, who was willing to accept any kind of punishment? 50 billion as compensation may be a lot, but to Divine Phoenix, that might just be water off a duck's back. That is because any punishment given out will only bring short-lived thrill and triumph, but in turn, it will plant the seeds of resentment and hatred in others. This will bring about a vicious cycle and history will repeat itself, even erupting into a full-blown war in the certain future. In comparison with Divine Phoenix, Blue Wind is weak. If that happens, the one who will sink into a time of adversity will surely be Blue Wind. It's not quite forgiveness per se, after all, Cang Yue smiled. My husband and I have seized the most precious Princess Snow from Divine Phoenix. If we let little sister Zuer marry you, my husband, it would be more beneficial for Blue Wind Nation's future than occupying half of Divine Phoenix Nation. To me, this will also be the best resolution, too. Xianxia gently palmed her cheek, murmuring, You are the ruler of this country, yet you're initiating a marriage between me and another woman. Moreover, she will be accorded as a legitimate wife with the same status as yours. Don't you feel that this is unfair to you? Cang Yue smiled faintly, gently shaking her head. I could only dream to be with you in the past, but now my dream has been fulfilled, and I am the world's happiest and most contented person. There can be no unfairness in this. Little sister Zuer is the most perfect girl I've seen in my life. Her looks, character, upbringing, status, profound strength, everything about her is flawless. And of course the world's most perfect lady should belong to my husband. Heh, I so strongly desire for all the world's most perfect things to belong to my husband. Yue! Xianxia sighed as a warm feeling spread through every corner of his body. He knew that he could not let Cang Yue down, not even the slightest. Husband? Ensconced in his embrace, Cang Yue closed her eyes and whispered, Won't you give me a child? When he's older, I will give him the throne. This way I can be by husband's side and truly belong to you. Xianxia gently nodded as his fingers caressed her snowy neck. He lowered his head and grinned. Then we'll have to do our best from today, all right? Although Cang Yue had her eyes closed, her snowy cheeks were slowly suffused with red. She shyly buried her head deeper into his embrace. It was a while later that she finally emitted a soft, high-pitched moan. Amen. From the second day the Divine Phoenix Arc left, there was a swift reordering of all Divine Phoenix troops stationed in the Blue Wind Nation. Although the troops did not completely retreat from Blue Wind, all troops were pulled out of the Imperial City and given strict orders not to invade again. The invasion of the Blue Wind Nation by the Divine Phoenix Nation culminated in this unexpected manner. The development of this situation later shocked the entire profound Sky Continent. On the 5th day of Feng Hengkong's return to Divine Phoenix, he announced that the Blue Wind Imperial family would be compensated 50 billion purple profound coins, and also gifted with an additional 30 tons of purple crystals and 13,000 sets of light armor and weaponry refined with the Divine Phoenix flame. The afternoon on the same day, tens of thousands of Divine Phoenix soldiers began filing into Blue Wind Imperial City, but not for an invasion. This time, The soldiers were sent to Blue Wind Imperial City to assist and rebuild the structures that were destroyed during the war. The news of Xianxia killing several divine Phoenix princes and elders and ruining Phoenix City had widely spread among the Seven Kingdoms. Even the most foolish person would have been able to guess what had happened between the two. Although the Blue Wind Nation was still in a mess, it finally saw the silver lining behind the clouds. The entire nation was in joyous celebration as countless Blue Wind citizens no longer needed to flee. They all returned to their homeland crying and laughing instead. At the same time, they shouted Xianxia's name because they knew this was the man who saved Blue Wind Nation from the brink of destruction. Beyond Blue Wind Nation, the other 6 nations were undoubtedly extremely shocked. It would have been within reason if Divine Phoenix simply retreated. But Divine Phoenix didn't only just retreat. They added a lofty sum as compensation, and they had even mobilized close to 70% of their troops to help rebuild Blue Wind for Divine Phoenix to have done such a thing. Even the simplest reason had the nations tremble in fear. For the past few days, the monarchs of Navy Tide, Black Fiend, Sunflower Dew, Grand Usura, and Divine Incense suffered sleepless nights and loss of appetites. After all, during the 3 years when Blue Wind was suffering under Divine Phoenix, no matter how Blue Wind lowered their head or nearly begged for assistance, they had turned a blind eye, and they even shredded the letter of appeal. Wouldn't it be child's play for them to get revenge if they had been able to corner the Divine Phoenix Empire to such a plight? Especially with Xianxia's mulish personality and vicious methods. All 5 monarchs had personally witnessed this 3 years ago, during the 7-nation ranking tournament. Upon casting aside the shadow Blue Wind Nation had lived in, they began their recovery process, and Cang Yue naturally got busier. She had to manage national affairs in the day and wait on Xianxia in the night. Xianxia, on the other hand, was exceptionally idle. Every morning, he would visit Kang Wan's grave to accompany Feng Zuer in order to redeem Feng Hengkong's sins. Feng Zuer resolutely knelt in front of Kang Wan's grave, and Xianxia and Cang Yue had no choice but to give in. The rest of the time was spent traveling between Blue Wind Imperial City and Floating Cloud City. 10 days later, as dawn approached, the sky brightened. Cang Yue was awake, but with her soft, jade-smooth body tangled with Xianxia, she was reluctant to rise. Her dazzlingly pale porcelain shoulder peeked out from the embroidered blanket. "Your Majesty, the monarch of Sunflower Dew, Gui Wanli, seeks an audience. Gui Wanli has been waiting outside the palace since 3 in the morning." From behind the curtain, Cang Yue's palace maid reported respectfully. With half-closed eyes, Cang Yue gently shifted her body in Xianxia's embrace and drawled, "Noted, let him wait for another hour." "Understood." Once the palace maid left, Cang Yue opened her eyes and threw off the blanket. In that second, a wide expanse of snowy, jade skin was revealed to Xianxia's eyes. Xianxia stretched out a hand and pulled her back into his embrace. Why bother meeting with him? Just have him leave the tribute and then get lost. Cang Yue laughed softly and shook her head. "It's time for you to get up too, my husband. Little sister Zuer has already knelt in front of my royal father's tomb for a full 10 days and 10 nights. If you're not going to bring her back, I'll die from the heartache." Cang Yue easily draped a phoenix muslin over her body. She knelt on the bed, and with a pair of slender, satiny jade hands, she dressed Xianxia and smoothed his hair. She then dressed herself in a phoenix robe and coronet, before hurrying out to prepare breakfast for Xianxia. Once he left the palace, Xianxia swiftly flew to the north of the city. In front of Kang Wan's grave, a young lady knelt quietly, her head bowed and her hands clasped in front of her chest. Her snowy white face was calm and sincere. Her long hair and skirts were dampened with the morning dew, casting an elegant yet lonely silhouette that would stir a heart-wrenching pain from anyone watching. "Zuer, it has been 10 days and 10 nights. Royal Father's soul in heaven has already felt your sincerity. He must be worried about you like the rest of us right now. Come back with me," Xianxia softly said after landing silently behind Feng Zuer, and then he kneeled down and bowed heavily towards the tomb. Feng Zuer slowly opened her beautiful eyes, and a transparent morning dew quietly fell from her long eyelashes. She leaned herself towards Xianxia and said faintly, "I know this to Big Brother Yun and Royal Father, to the broken Blue Wind Nation. This can't even make up even a little bit of it. Empress Sis should hate my Royal Father more than anyone, hate my Divine Phoenix Nation, but she chose to be such forgiving. Empress Sis really is an admirable person. No wonder she can become Big Brother Yun's wife." Xianxia smiled and said, "To you, heir, dispersing the disaster of Blue Wind in the shortest amount of time. and then achieving an even longer peace is what she wants. As for the other things, she can work hard to let them go. After your royal father returned, he also worked really hard to make up to Blue Wind. Not only did he deliver 50 billion purple profound coins to the Blue Wind imperial family within a short span of 5 days, he also delivered a large amount of purple crystal and armor. He also chose to publicly do this to help Blue Wind intimidate the other 5 nations. He is also using his own way to repent and atone for his sins. Even though the disaster of those 3 years wouldn't be forgotten by history, with the emperors from the 2 nations working together, it could be turned around really quickly. So Zuer shouldn't put the pressure on yourself. Your safeness and happiness is your royal father's biggest wish. Amen. Feng Zuer continued leaning on Yun Qi's shoulders, and her face revealed a beautiful smile. Let's go back. I'll take you to meet my grandfather and little aunt. Because of Feng Zuer, Yun Qi's absolute hatred towards Feng Hengkong was slightly mixed with something complicated. He clearly knew that the main reason Feng Hengkong left Feng Zuer here in Blue Wind Nation was definitely not to protect the dignity of Divine Phoenix, but because of Feng Zuer's wish. If Feng Zuer wasn't willing, even if he had to fulfill conditions that were several times harsher than those 5 cruel conditions, he would absolutely not agree to it. Handing his own daughter to an enemy who killed 4 of his sons. At least Feng Hengkong's spoiled love towards Feng Zuer was strong and not tainted at all. His heart was vaster compared to what Yun Qi had seen with his eyes out of hatred. When Yun Qi returned to Blue Wind Imperial City with Feng Zuer, he happened to see Xia Yuanba and number 1 under heaven walking out of the Imperial Palace side by side. Xia Yuanba lifted his head when he felt the fluctuation in aura. His eyes brightened up as he flew towards Yun Qi immediately. Brother-in-law, little sister Zuer. Big brother under heaven, Yuanba, I was just about to go look for you too. I am taking Zuer to Floating Cloud City now. Do you want to go back with us? Yun Qi asked them. Brother-in-law, I was also looking for you, but I am here to say goodbye to you. There was a temporary dimness in the expression of Xia Yuanba's eyes when he heard Yun Qi said Floating Cloud City. That was his homeland, but he no longer had any relatives there. His father was far away in Divine Phoenix, and there was no news about his big sister nor mother. Goodbye. You are going back to Absolute Monarch Sanctuary, Yun Qi said in surprise. Amen, Xia Yuanba nodded. The war here in Blue Wind has already ended. There is nothing much I can do staying here. When I rushed over from Absolute Monarch Sanctuary before, I used Lord Saint Emperor's Heavenly Sacred Divine Ark. The Heavenly Sacred Divine Ark is extremely important to Absolute Monarch Sanctuary. It is already inappropriate for me to have brought it out for so long. Master has already sent a sound transmission urging me to go back, and he said it was Lord Saint Emperor's orders. Other than that, he also mentioned that a few months later, we are going to Supreme Ocean Palace. I think it's to attend the Devil Sword Conference, so I must go back early to prepare. Even though I will miss brother-in-law and senior sister Zuruo, I must return to Absolute Monarch Sanctuary. On the way back, I still want to go to Black Moon Merchant Guild to visit father. Devil Sword Conference? Yun Qi's expression changed. Your master said he's taking you to attend it. Then did he mention any details about the Devil Sword Conference? No. When I asked him, Master only said to talk about it more once I'm back. Brother-in-law, you also know about the Devil Sword Conference. I've only heard about the name from the people of Black Moon Merchant Guild, and that it is going to be held about 5 months later. I don't know about anything else. Also, if nothing unexpected happens, I will attend the Devil Sword Conference as well. Ah, brother-in-law will also go? Xia Yuanba was excited. He immediately nodded his head without asking why. Okay, I will definitely go with Master then. Yun Qi thought for a little bit and said, attending the Devil Sword Conference is secondary. I am mainly going to Supreme Ocean Palace because there are some affairs I need to take care of. Yuanba, when you return, ask your master more about Supreme Ocean Palace. Maybe it will be useful to me. Amen, I understand. I will find a way to send a sound transmission to you. Then, brother-in-law, I'm leaving. I'll see you in Supreme Ocean Palace. Xia Yuanba's body floated and was about to leave. These days, the Heavenly Sacred Divine Ark had been parked south of Blue Wind Imperial City. It was very eye-catching, and the strength of its aura was so strong that people could only look at it from far away, unable to get close to it. Wait, Yun Qi suddenly yelled and stopped Xia Yuanba. He slightly lowered his eyebrows and spoke in a serious tone. Yuanba, I heard that the Holy Master of Absolute Monarch Sanctuary doesn't not have sons. Instead, he has many adopted sons. Is that true? That is indeed true. Xia Yuanba nodded. I heard from Master that it seemed to be because of some disturbance on his profound aura while cultivating. Lord Holy Master hurt himself, causing himself to be incapable of producing offsprings, so he adopted 7 or 8 sons. I heard that the next Holy Master would be chosen from Lord Holy Master's adopted sons, so they seem to always have an intense competition between each other. Yun Qi continued speaking. I heard that only the Saint Emperor can steer the heavenly sacred divine ark. Even the adopted sons of his are not allowed to touch it. Is that true? Amen. Xia Yuanba nodded once again. So I was also surprised when the Lord Holy Master lent me the heavenly sacred divine ark. Yun Qi muttered to himself temporarily, and his expression turned serious. When you return to Absolute Monarch Sanctuary, watch out for the adopted sons of Saint Emperor. Xia Yuanba's had a stunned expression. He immediately understood the meaning behind Yun Qi's words, and he earnestly nodded. I understand. Brother-in-law doesn't have to worry. I am not the same Xia Yuanba that was bullied who needed brother-in-law's protection. Also, when I was cultivating independently in Absolute Monarch Sanctuary, I basically wasn't in that much contact with them, but I will be aware. Brother-in-law, I'm leaving. I will definitely become even more stronger 5 months later. Xia Yuanba had lost all the immaturity and hesitation that he used to have. He waved towards Yun Qi, then he flew up with ease towards the south of the imperial city. Brother Xia's gift is really impressive, and his character is so virtuous. In the future, he will definitely rule the masses. Number 1 under heaven praised sincerely as he looked at the direction where Xia Yuanba left. Number 1 under heaven had an extreme hostility and even hatred towards the 4 great sacred grounds of profound sky continent. But he wasn't able to dislike Xia Yuanba, who was from Absolute Monarch Sanctuary at all. Amen, but you definitely won't be able to imagine what he was like back then, said Yun Qi as smiled and turned around. Big brother under heaven, how about you come back with us to Floating Cloud City? Oh right, there is something that I forgot to tell you. Number 1 under heaven responded curiously. Oh, it's good news. 7th sister is pregnant. Amen, she is 2 weeks pregnant now. Yun Qi smiled and said. These days, he would return to Floating Cloud City every day. He didn't need to test her pulse and could be completely certain just by looking at her. What a joke. That was the elixir that he personally conjured. How could it fail? Number 1 under heaven was obviously surprised. This, how is it so fast? That Xiao Yun brat, no, I must take old 7 back so she can settle and rest. Looking at number 1 under heaven, it was evident that he was already flustered. Yun Qi waved his hand as he said, better not. If she were to return to the family now, both of them would be restricted in various ways and become troubled. However, if they stayed in Floating Cloud City, both of them would be able to enjoy their own world, living freely each day. For the pregnant 7th sister, this would be the best environment and condition. Even if you wanted to forcefully drag them back now, they would definitely not agree to it. Of course, there was another more important reason to Yun Qi, and that was Xiao Lai. Number 1 under heaven calmed down slightly, thought for a while before sighing. Perhaps it's indeed so. All right, Brother Yun, I shall follow you to Floating Cloud City then. Although there isn't much danger, given old 7's current condition, I really don't feel assured unless I'm by her side. All right. Yun Qi nodded as he called upon the primordial profound arc with his outstretched hand. Ever since Divine Phoenix started calling back its troops, the atmosphere within Floating Cloud City also began to change daily. Until today, when all the Divine Phoenix army fully retreated from the surroundings of Floating Cloud City, the entire city burst out in a lively and boisterous mood. Upon returning to the Xiao family, seeing Xiao Yun and number 7 under heaven, number 1 under heaven could not be bothered about anything else and rushed straight forward. 7th sister, Brother Yun said that you're pregnant. Is that true? When he finished speaking, he even gave a cold stare to Xiao Yun, who was standing behind. Xiao Yun scratched his head in embarrassment while number 7 under heaven had a proud look. Of course. Would Big Brother Yun even say anything fake? HMPH, and to think you 6 of my older brothers had not even let father get a grandchild after so many years. It is I, number 7 under heaven, who is the most impressive. The words she spoke caused number 1 under heaven's face to contort as he depressingly replied, Then you must take care of your body properly. If there's anything wrong, you must let me know immediately. Haha, Brother under heaven is truly panicking due to concern. Seventh sister body is protected by tyrant profound energy and natural energy. She would be fine even if she flew around floating Cloud City more than 100 times each day. Xianxia walked over and assured him while laughing. Looking at the young girl in scarlet gold long dress beside Xianxia, Xianxia stopped her rushing steps towards Xianxia. Her beautiful eyes widened as she exclaimed, "Little Qi, could she be?" Anyone who was meeting Feng Zhuo for the first time would feel as though they had entered a dreamlike state, even if it was a woman. This was because her looks and demeanor were perfect to the point of illusory. Even though she was Princess Snow, even the most beautiful snow flower in the world would not be able to represent a small bit of her beauty. It was just that there were too few lucky people in the world who could personally witness Princess Snow's beauty. Xiao Yun and number 7 under heaven also saw Feng Zhuo at this moment, and in that instant, their eyes locked in place. As though their souls had left their bodies, they could not look away. Feng Zhuo greets big brother Xiao, big sister number 7, and little aunt. Feng Zhuo was gentle and respectful, and she smiled exceptionally sweetly when facing Xianxia. It was because she knew that Xianxia grew up together with Xianxia and was the most important relative to him. Xiao Yun's eyes opened the widest as he was dazed for a long period, his mouth subconsciously uttering, simply comparable with, little demon Empress. Number 7 under heaven ferociously covered Xiao Yun's eyes and angrily said, "You dare to look at other girls in front of me? You're not allowed to." When she turned around, she was full of smiles once again. "Nice to meet you, little sister Zhuo. These few days, we have been bugging Big Brother Yun several times to bring you over. It's no wonder that you're the legendary prettiest woman in profound Sky Continent. You're definitely the most beautiful person I've ever seen in my life." At the same time, she added another phrase in her heart. "Just one of them, there's still little demon Empress. Oh, if the two of them were to stand together, perhaps even the moon would not dare to appear. The prettiest woman in profound Sky Continent, it's indeed not an exaggeration." Xianxia stared at Feng Zhuo in a daze. Looking at this absolute beauty that could even cause Xianxia Cultivation to pale in comparison, she muttered under her breath as her eyes glinted a complicated glow. "Zhuo thanks little aunt and big sister number 7 for the praise." Feng Zhuo bowed slightly and smiled sweetly. Her words and smile did not make her seem like the princess of divine Phoenix Empire, but instead a fairy that walked out from a fairy tale. "Chair, you're back!" Xiaoli's gentle voice rang out. Compared to how weak he was before, it only took merely half a month before Xiaoli could steadily walk again. His face glowed with radiance, and his smile came from the depths of his heart. Xianxia held Feng Zhuo's hand. "Zhuo, this is my grandfather who had brought me up." Zhuo greets grandfather Xiao. Feng Zhuo took a step forward, rolled up her sleeve, and performed a full salutation that was expected of a junior. Xiaoli examined Feng Zhuo and exclaimed in deep admiration, "Princess Snow is really as your reputation goes. Although our blue wind is remote, your name is still commonplace to us. I never expected to actually be lucky enough to meet you one day. It is truly 3 lifetimes worth of good fortune." Feng Zhuo replied with a gentle voice, "To be able to meet Big Brother Yun's grandfather, Zhuo is the one who is truly happy. Ha 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 ha, truly a wonderful child." Xiaoli heartily laughed, and in his admiration he also grew fond of her. He did not expect that the most revered Princess Snow of the divine Phoenix nation that could cover the heavens with one hand would be such a gentle and lovable person. She did not have any airs about her, and was even respectful towards him. Xianxia quietly walked to Xianxia's side and grabbed onto the fingers of his right hand. She grabbed them rather tightly as her cheeks puffed up slightly but visibly. "Little Qi, you need to tell us clearly. What happened between you and HMPH, Profound Sky's #1 beauty Princess Snow? 3 years ago, you had gotten into danger because of her, and now she's actually staying by your side and calling you so intimately, HMPH. Her final snort was exceptionally soft, but Xianxia still heard it clearly. In a soft voice, he replied, "This matter is a bit complicated to explain. If you want to know, you can go and ask your Empress Sis, little aunt. Are you perhaps jealous?" "I am jealous." Xianxia pinched Xianxia strongly, pouted her lips, turned around and put on a look as though she was no longer going to care about him. If it were another girl beside Xianxia, perhaps she might feel sour about it, but her reaction would not have been so big. However, everything about Princess Snow was just too flawless, and she could overshadow any single girl in the world. From how she intimates she was with Xianxia and how she looked at Xianxia, Xianxia felt an unprecedented sense of danger in her heart. Xianxia smirked as he held onto Xiao Lingxi's petite hands and refused to let go. Just as he was about to say something beside her ear, his eyebrows twitched violently. He turned around and shot his sharp gaze to the distant north. "Little Qi, what's wrong?" Xianxi's stiff action and abrupt reaction caused Xiao Lingxi to turn around in a panic as she looked at him and asked worriedly. Xianxi's tightly knitted eyebrows slowly relaxed as his gaze returned. Then he suddenly asked in a soft voice, "Little aunt, have you seen Fen Juchen during this period of time?" "Fen Juchen?" Xiao Lingxi was slightly shocked as she shook her head gently. After he left that day, he never returned again. Thinking about their arranged battle, her face became full of worries in an instant. "There's 2.5 months left. Do you really have to go then?" "MN, there must be a conclusion between me and him. However, little aunt does not have to worry at all. After all, don't forget that I do have the best escape method in this world." Xianxia replied with a face of ease. Xiao Lingxi's lips trembled slightly. She seemed as though she was about to say something, but then she stopped herself. Eventually, she uttered softly, "No matter what, you must be safe. For the coming few days, I'll be staying at home. Zuer is going to be staying with me. In 5 days, I'll bring Zuer with me to frozen Cloud Asgard." Xianxia looked towards the north, and a rare, listless expression hung on his face. He had to protect frozen Cloud Asgard. A small part of it was due to Gong Yuxian's dying wish, but a larger part was due to what he owed Chu Yuechen. It had already been 5 whole years without any news of her. Even Black Moon Merchant Guild provided no results. Now, every time Chu Yuechen's figure appeared in his mind, his heart felt terrible pain. 4 days later, Divine Phoenix City. Following the distortion of space, Xianxia returned here once again. Changing into a normal and inconspicuous outfit, he kept his primordial profound arc and entered Black Moon Merchant Guild. "Hee, you're here. Counting the dates, it should probably be around these few days." Upon entering the 7th floor of the Black Moon Merchant Guild, Zai Jai's voice rang beside Xianxi's ears. "Sir Yun, this way, please." It was still the same 3 girls as the last time and the same antique stone table, but this time, Xianxia did not sit in front of Zai Jai. Instead, he immediately went straight to the topic. "Senior Zai, it's been 15 days. I'm sure Senior knows this junior's motive of visit." Zai Jai smiled gently, stretched his hand out and pushed 3 spatial rings that were shining with a purple glow in front of Xianxia. "Here are 45,000 kilograms of purgatory stone, 150 kilograms of flaming devil vines that are at least 90 years old, 6,000 Rakshasa heart-destroying fruits, 12,000 skull seeds, 6,000 blades of soul-withering grass. All of them are inside. You can check through them. 49 materials, regardless whether it was their name, age, specification, or amount. Zai Jai said them without any mistake." Xianxia took the 3 spatial rings and kept them without even looking. No need. Why would Junior not believe Senior Zai? As he finished speaking, Xianxia took out his profound currency card and paid the remaining 4 million purple profound coins. The millions that he previously owned had been completely used up upon this payment. "Xianxia, with your strength alone, you actually forced Divine Phoenix Sect into such a state." The old man is truly shocked. Now, even within the 4 sacred grounds, there is no one who does not know your name. Zai Jai looked at Xianxia and praised. "Senior Zai is too kind." Xianxia replied plainly as he did not want to continue on this topic. So he just changed the topic. "During this visit, Junior has one more matter that he needs to rely on Senior Zai for, and this matter can only be done by your Black Moon Merchant Guild within the shortest time period." "Please say." Zai Jai slightly smiled, looking polite. "I require 3 profound cores from high-level profound beasts. It would be best if they are sovereign profound cores, but if those are too hard to find, tyrant profound cores can work as well." Xianxia said seriously. Zai Jai tapped the stone table twice with his fingers and remained silent for a short while before replying. "Sovereign profound beasts are already a rarity in this world, and it is extremely difficult to hunt them. A complete sovereign profound beast's profound core is truly a priceless treasure. Even my Black Moon Merchant Guild would need to go through great lengths to find." Xianxia stretched out his palm, revealing 3 shiny Overlord pellets. "If Senior Zai can help Junior find 3 complete sovereign profound cores, Junior is willing to use these 3 pellets to exchange for them. If it were tyrant profound cores, then Junior is afraid that he can only use profound coins or purple crystals as exchange." Xianxia's words caused Zai Jai's eyes to shine. He was very clear that if he was able to obtain 1 additional pellet from Xianxia's hands, he would be able to develop another young talent. The impact behind this was far superior to that of just owning another sovereign profound core. He immediately nodded with a smile. Since that's the case, my Black Moon Merchant Guild will definitely do its best. However, when do you require these 3 sovereign profound cores? Xianxia thought about it and replied, if Junior is not wrong, Senior Zai should also be attending the Devil Sword Conference in 4.5 months' time. Senior Zai can just pass it to Junior at that time. Zai Jai smiled and nodded. His nod undoubtedly meant that we was also going to attend the Devil Sword Conference. Speaking of the Devil Sword Conference, how about we auction the 10 pellets that you have entrusted with Black Moon Merchant Guild during the Devil Sword Conference? By then, all of the most pinnacle powerhouses would be gathering together, and the rulers of the sacred grounds will also personally attend the event. If the pellets made by your revered master were to be auctioned off in a normal way, it would be an insult to such heavenly items. However, the Devil Sword Conference would undoubtedly be the most opportune time to auction them. Xianxia silently counted the time before replying. Since that's the case, let's just follow what Senior Zai has suggested. Since I don't have any more matters, this junior shall take his leave. Xianxia turned around and was going to leave. However, after walking only 3 steps, Zai Jai's voice suddenly rang meaningfully behind him. Xianxia, have you heard of Illusory Demon Realm and their 12 guardian families before? Xianxia stopped and turned around. Of course I've heard of Illusory Demon Realm. I've also faintly heard about the 12 guardian families. Why is Senior Zai asking me about this? Just a casual question. I don't have any other intentions. Zai Jai's gaze looked as he sipped a mouthful of tea with a smile on his face. This junior shall take his leave. Exiting from Blue Moon Merchant Guild, Xianxia's expression instantly sank. He stood silently at the same spot for some time before summoning his primordial profound arc and returning to Floating Cloud City. On the morning of the next day, before the sun had risen in the sky, and a thick layer of fog still enshrouded Floating Cloud City, Xianxia said his goodbyes to Zio Lingxi and Zio Lai before entering the primordial profound arc with Feng Zhuer and locking in the coordinates for the snow region of extreme ice. He had originally intended to soar in the sky together with Feng Zhuer, bringing her to see all the sights and sounds that Blue Wind Nation had to offer. But at that time, he remembered Frozen Cloud Asgard's 2,000 disciples and the unfinished business he had with them. To help them all undergo a transformation before the Devil's Sword Conference was a monumental task in and of itself. So in the end, he chose to use the primordial profound arc. My clan has spent the last few millennia trying to uncover the secrets of the primordial profound arc, and every single time the arc appeared, we would pour all our energy and effort into investigating it. Every time the primordial profound arc made its appearance, both the Spirit Earth Hall and Lord Phoenix God would detect an extremely high-level spiritual energy, and they were convinced that there was definitely some enormous treasure hidden on the arc. But who would have thought that the treasure was actually the primordial profound arc itself? It is truly unimaginable. Feng Zhuer's eyes roamed across the interior of the primordial profound arc as she took in her surroundings. Right now, both she and Xianxia were within the mysterious ancient fortress that was inside the primordial profound arc, and she still had very clear memories of this place. 3 years ago, when Yi Xinghan was in hot pursuit of her, Xianxia had taken her in his arms and had rushed into this place. And even though her profound energy had been sealed and her entire body was bereft of energy, she had never forgotten a single scene from that day. I had always felt that this whole affair was rather mysterious. Even though it belongs to me right now, I do not have a single clue as to its history or origins. There must still be some mystery that is hidden within it, but I am still in that dark in regards to that as well. But Zhuer, you definitely can't tell anyone about this primordial profound arc, not even your royal father. Yes, I understand, Feng Zhuer said as she beamed with joy. Big brother Yun, the place we are going to right now, is it really filled with snow? Once you close your eyes, you'll find out, Xianxia said with a faint smile. The primordial profound arc traveled through space, and it only needed a fraction of a second to cross from Floating Cloud City to the snow region of extreme ice. By the time Feng Zhuer had started the conversation, they were already hovering in the air above the snow region of extreme ice. Close my eyes, Feng Zhuer softly mumbled before gently closing her eyes. Immediately, the air around them turned chilly as an icy cold aura assaulted them from all sides. The coldness of the snow region of extreme ice far surpassed the limit of what a normal person could endure. But for Feng Zhuer, who was at the 8th level of the sovereign profound realm, it did not cause even a hint of discomfort. But this was also the first time that Feng Zhuer, who had never left the bounds of Divine Phoenix City before, had ever come into contact with cold climates in her life. The cold air that wreathed her body had been purified by ice and snow for 10,000 years, and it was so pure that there was not a single trace of impurity. The cold winds that whistled beside her ear seemed to let out a peculiar howl. Feng Zhuer opened her eyes, and she dazedly stared at the snow-white world in front of her, her eyes faintly trembling as stars shone within them. Snow would continue to fall in the snow region of extreme ice for most of the year, and at this time, the snow region of extreme ice happened to be covered by a thick layer of powdered snow. The earth was white, the mountain caps were white, the glaciers were white, and even the sky was covered with white snow. One would not even be able to make out the horizon in this place. Feng Zhuer gently extended both her hands, and within this pure white world, her jade hands seemed to glow with a luster that was even more pure than the snow itself. A cluster of fortunate snowflakes landed in the palm of her hand, but after a brief instant, they were melted away by the power of her phoenix flames. Feng Zhuer anxiously constricted her profound energy, and immediately after that, the snowflakes began to obediently gather on her palms. It was not long before the snow completely covered her palms, her phoenix clothes, and her long hair. Her arms lightly danced in the air, and a veil of snow immediately began dancing with her as well. The joy and wonderment in her eyes was reflected clearly on every single crystalline snowflake. I feel like I'm dreaming, to think that such a wonderful place truly existed on this earth, Feng Zhuer softly mumbled. The year she turned 13 was also the year that Divine Phoenix City experienced its first ever snowfall. And that was also the most beautiful scene she had ever seen in her life, and it was something that she could never forget. Before she had met Xianxia, her greatest desire was to see snow dancing in the air once more. And the world of boundless snow that lay before her eyes right now was her very definition of heaven. Feng Zhuer could not contain her elation any longer, and she let out a cry of pure delight. She floated amidst the falling snow as her body was immersed in the endless motes of snow that filled the sky, and her pure and joyous laughter was carried along by the cold winds that surrounded her. She summoned the Snow Phoenix Beast, and soared up into the flying snow on the wings of the Snow Phoenix Beast as it danced in the sky. She was so delighted that it seemed as if she had entered the realm of her childhood fantasies. Little White, Big Brother Yun said that this place was where you were born, so now that you've come home, you must definitely be very happy. Right, Scree? The Snow Phoenix Beast let out a loud and clear cry as it flapped both its wings and raised a huge curtain of snow in front of Feng Zhuer, eliciting a soft cry of pure delight from Feng Zhuer. Xianxia smiled as he looked at the scene unfolding before his eyes. However, what he was looking at was not the snow, but Feng Zhuer. Anyone who had seen Feng Zhuer before would likely state that in this profound sky continent, there was no scenery in existence that would be more beautiful than her. From the moment he met her 3 years ago to this day, when they were traveling side by side, even Xianxia felt like the whole thing seemed to be a wondrous illusion. 3 years ago, I thought that I would never be able to fulfill the promise between us. Xianxia softly mumbled to himself. HMPH, one of these days, you really are going to die because of a woman, Jasmine coldly exclaimed, and she had already said such a thing 3 times now. She had become more and more convinced that if Xianxia met a terrible end one day, the greatest possibility, no, it would absolutely be because of a woman. Xianxia's mouth crooked sideways, but at this time, Jasmine's voice once again rang out within his soul. However, it was a lot more hushed this time around, just like Big Brother. Her words were extremely soft, and it seemed as if she mumbled it unconsciously and in a daze. It was so soft that even if you held your ear close to her, you would barely be able to make it. But Jasmine shared a body with him, so no matter how faint it was, the voice of her soul would always be clearly heard by him. Xianxia immediately said in a stunned voice, "Your brother." Xianxia felt Jasmine's aura suddenly fluctuate violently as her mood grew extremely cold, but she did not continue to speak to him. It was clear that she did not feel like speaking about it, and what she said just now was a mere slip of the tongue. Xianxia thought about it for a moment before continuing. Actually, because you aren't a guy, you naturally won't understand the world that we live in. For the vast majority of men, being able to conquer the heart of the woman that you desire is more important than conquering the entire world. Even if a man is truly unrivaled under heaven and can look down upon the rest of the world, If he cannot conquer the heart of the woman that he loves, then he is still a failure. He himself will feel the same way as well. Also, protecting your own woman is something that is instinctive for every man. Even if they died because of this, they also would not. Shut your mouth! Jasmine's cold rebuke cut off his words, and she coldly continued after that. You think that everybody is the same as you. My big brother only ever loved one woman in his entire life, and he was a serious and devoted lover. He did not even spare a glance for other women. He doesn't resemble you, a stupid lecher who can risk life for any woman as long as she is beautiful. Oh, in regards to the label stupid lecher that Jasmine had stuck on him, Xianxia had always accepted it with joy, but after a while he carefully asked her, "You just said that your brother's death was for the sake of protecting the woman that he loved." Protecting? Jasmine gave a cold laugh, but after that, a killing intent suddenly flooded forth. In an instant, it had completely filled Xianxia's heart and soul, causing him to go cold as a stab of intense pain suddenly sprang from the depths of his soul. Alarm abruptly arose in Xianxia's heart. This was not the first time he had felt Jasmine's killing intent, but in the 7 years that they had spent together, all of the killing intent she had shown before added up together would still not be able to equal the amount of killing intent she had shown in that moment alone. Xianxia could be said to be an expert in killing intent, so he was very clear that the killing intent that Jasmine had shown just now was something that was birthed from an extreme hatred and desire to kill that was carved into one's heart. Big Brother was willing to throw even his life away for her sake. But the only thing that he got from that woman was poisonous schemes and manipulation. Big Brother was clearly such a powerful and intelligent person, but because of that woman, a faint tremble could be heard in Jasmine's voice as she continued. One of the reasons that I was willing to take such huge risks and pay such a huge price to obtain the evil god's indestructible blood was so that I could kill that woman. But in the end, you ended up being the final beneficiary. Jasmine's voice was still ice cold, but she had already managed to suppress both her aura and her killing intent. I don't feel like talking about it anymore, and you are not allowed to ask as well. And you are definitely never allowed to compare yourself to my big brother ever again. You lecher. Your brother was so powerful that he has always been regarded as the most perfect person in the world in your eyes. So the woman who caused him to be so devoted to her, she definitely can't be too far off either, right? Xianxia asked as he placed a finger on his chin. Jasmine did not respond, but Xianxia was more concerned by something else. Jasmine had just said that one of the reasons that she went after the evil god's indestructible blood at all costs was so she could kill that woman, which is to say that Jasmine was not able to defeat the person she referred to as that woman. SSS. Xianxia could not help but take in a breath of cold air. A person that was stronger than Jasmine, and a woman to boot. There are still 2 months before your duel with Fen Juchen. Jasmine forcefully changed the subject, and it was clear that she did not want Xianxia to continue pursuing the matter. Under normal circumstances, if you want to beat him, there may still be a glimmer of a chance if you use those underhanded and despicable methods of yours. If you face him in a straight fight, you will never be able to win. But right now, there may actually be a way for you to face him straight on. Oh, what method is that? Xianxia asked in astonishment. He had been thinking about ways to deal with Fen Juchen every single day in anticipation of their duel, and he had come up with some plans already, but none of them included the option of fighting him head-on. The method is precisely this, Feng Zhuer. Following the guidance of the voice of Jasmine's soul, Xianxia's gaze landed on Feng Zhuer, who was at this very moment cheerfully playing with the snow phoenix beast amidst the flying snow. Xianxia was stumped, but after he thought about it for a while, he decided to probe further. You are saying that? It's very simple, you just need to obtain her phoenix vital yin, Jasmine said calmly. Even though you are definitely not her opponent right now, she clearly isn't repulsed by you, so given your various despicable and lecherous ways, this shouldn't really be a hard thing to do at all. At number percent, to think that Jasmine, who repeatedly called him a lecher, who had countless of times sneered at him, despised him, and even scolded him for harming women, would actually take the initiative to take a girl's virgin vital yin. This was definitely the first time it had ever happened, and it caused Xianxia to be so stunned that he just stood there, staring blankly at the sky for a good long while. His appearance also caused Jasmine's voice to clearly become unnatural as she gave a light snort before saying, I just don't want you to die at the hands of Fen Juchen, that's all. I don't think this can be done. Xianxia said rather weakly, Feng Zhuer's divine phoenix power has not completely awakened. Moreover, right now she is still at the crucial stage where her power will quickly awaken after her phoenix soul had been awoken. If she loses her vital yin during this period, the awakening of her phoenix power will drastically decrease and might even stop there and then. This will heavily affect Feng Zuer's future. Furthermore, I have also promised Feng Hengkong that even if Zuer was willing to do the deed, I still must not do it. This is the #1 beauty of the profound sky continent we are talking about. A huge lecher like you can actually resist the temptation. Jasmine snorted in disdain before continuing on calmly. If it was anyone else on the profound sky continent who caused her to lose her virgin vital yin, then it would be exactly as you described. But only you are unique, in that you will not only not cause any negative side effects, but actually cause her phoenix powers to awaken more quickly. Ah, really? Xianxia's face was filled with astonishment. Jasmine slowly said, "There are 3 bloodlines of divine beasts that exist within your body right now, with the bloodline of the dragon god as the main bloodline. The dragon god's bloodline has gifted you with an enormously strong power and body, as well as a long life, while the phoenix bloodline and the golden crow bloodline has bestowed upon you flames which can destroy everything. Due to the existence of your dragon god's marrow and the countless cycles of destruction and rebirth that occurred on the primordial profound arc, your dragon god bloodline has become extremely thick. But even if you added all 3 of your divine beast bloodlines together, it will still not be as thick as Feng Zuer's phoenix bloodline, because she received the complete legacy and inheritance of one of the phoenix souls. And this is also the reason why her strength is so ridiculous at the tender age of 19. Besides this, because the phoenix soul is limited by the fact that it can only exist in soul form, it was never able to display its full power. But once Feng Zuer, who has completely inherited its entire bloodline and soul, completely awakens her power, it will not be so simple as her power being equal to the phoenix soul. Instead, it will completely surpass the phoenix soul. So powerful, Xianxia said in astonishment, surpassing the phoenix spirit. The divine phoenix sex phoenix god had a power that was equal to the little demon empress. Both of them were half a step into the divine profound realm, and if it was truly as Jasmine had said, then in this world there would truly be no one who could rival Feng Zuer. Furthermore, this only required a scant few decades, and it did not seem to have any cruel side effects like the one that the little demon empress had to endure. If there are no other complications, she should be the first person in history to have received a complete inheritance from a phoenix soul. In other words, it can no longer be called something as simple as an inheritance. It would be more accurate to say that the phoenix divine spirit bestowed its entire being upon a human. For these divine spirits, entities who have loftily looked down upon all existence since ancient times, to convert the very last flames of its existence into power for a pitiful human, without leaving even a trace of its existence behind, and basically destroying every last shred of dignity and majesty that comes with being a divine spirit. This is something that should be impossible for an ancient divine spirit to do. So, for the phoenix divine spirit of the divine phoenix sect to do such a thing, there must have been an extremely unique reason behind it. A scene that had occurred in the illusory demon realm's Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley appeared in Jasmine's mind. That time when the Golden Crow divine spirit had said something absolutely astounding. "So you're saying that will not create any negative side effects? What is the reason for that?" Xianxia asked. Clearly this was the matter that he was the most concerned about at the moment. "It's because you have the dragon god's bloodline along with both the dragon god's marrow and the dragon god's soul. Even though your dragon god inheritance is not as complete as Feng Zuer's phoenix inheritance, your body can still be considered a body of the dragon god, so it is compatible with Feng Zuer's body of the phoenix god," Jasmine said calmly and sincerely. "Do you remember how Chu Yuechen, whose profound strength had been crippled and who was at death's doorstep, recovered 5 years ago? It was only by relying on your dragon god vital yang that her life was saved and her injuries were healed, and she even had a breakthrough in her profound strength. Feng Zuer, who possesses the body of the phoenix god, is an extremely good training incubator for dual cultivation. The phoenix vital yin in particular will cause her partner's body, bloodline, and profound strength to be refined and become more powerful. You, who possesses the body of the dragon god, also happen to be an extremely good training incubator for women practicing dual cultivation. Even though you lost your vital yang long ago, and your dragon god power is not as pure as Feng Zuer's phoenix power, the plane of the dragon god's power still surpasses that of the phoenix. Not only will it not contaminate and clog up the phoenix power that she has yet to fully awaken, it will actually speed up the rate of its awakening and give her an even stronger physique and life force. Presently, the power of your golden crow flames far surpasses that of your phoenix flames because your golden crow bloodline is 3 times thicker than that of your phoenix bloodline. This means that the level of the golden crow's record of the burning world also exceeds that of the world ode of the phoenix. However, if you acquire Feng Zuer's phoenix vital yin and continue to have sexual intercourse with her on a regular basis, that situation may end up being completely reversed. Ah, so it's like that. Yun Qi's fingers drummed against his chin, and as he digested the meaning of Jasmine's words, his gaze became more and more intense. Ah, are you thinking of how to deceive Feng Zuer so you can do whatever you want to her? Jasmine asked in a low voice. Amen, after all, Zuer is… no, I'm not, I'm definitely not. Yun Qi shook his head in a flustered manner before assuming an upright and moral stance. Zuer is an innocent and pure girl, so how I possibly bring myself to do such a harmful thing to her? Moreover, even if I really wanted to do something, I can't win her in the first place. HMPH. Jasmine gave a cold smile filled with disdain. Yun Qi might be able to deceive everyone else in this world, but he would never be able to trick Jasmine. She continued in a chilly voice. If you are talking about strength, the little demon Empress is 10 times stronger than the current Feng Zuer. And if you are talking about intelligence and experience, she is more than 100 times greater. If she wanted to kill you, it would be no different from crushing an ant. But in the end, she was still harmed by the terrible lecher that you are, still harmed. Jasmine paused for a long time after that, as she was simply unable to find the words that could describe the situation with the little demon Empress. After the little demon Empress and Yun Qi got married, they had spent every single day completely engrossed in each other's bodies and under Yun Qi's tutelage and guidance. The little demon Empress, who possessed the greatest profound strength in this world and single-handedly ruled the illusory demon realm, became even more wanton than the most debauched courtesan. Only she herself remained unaware of it. She was even under the impression that these actions were something that a wife ought to do in the first place. During that time, Jasmine spent every single day as red as an apple before she sealed both her senses of sight and hearing in frustration. Oh, I get it. Yun Qi's eyebrows made an arch before he smiled merrily. I'm actually not as great as you make me sound. For example, my master Jasmine practically wanted to kill me just because I hugged her once. Get out. Boom. A huge bang resonated in the center of Yun Qi's mind, shaking him so badly that the world seemed to go white. After that, Jasmine refused to pay any more attention to him. Big brother Yun, both Feng Zuer and the Snow Phoenix flew down from above before landing in front of Yun Qi. Feng Zuer's cheeks glowed a warm red as the purest and most flawless smile lit up on her face. This place is even better than I had imagined it to be. It is practically like the heaven that my royal father spoke of. Big brother Yun, your eyes are really weird, and your smile is strange too. Yun Qi swiftly masked the strangeness in his eyes and assumed a solemn expression before breaking out into a smile. Because Zuer is simply so beautiful that I became mesmerized by you without noticing. He moved sideways and pointed to the west. Frozen Cloud Asgard is approximately 100 kilometers west of here. That is where you can really see the most beautiful sights in the entire snow region of extreme ice. Amen. Feng Zuer nodded her head vigorously and stretched out her tiny, white jade hand towards Yun Qi. Let Little White take us to Frozen Cloud Asgard, then. Yun Qi took Feng Zuer's hand, and he leaped onto the back of the Snow Phoenix. They raced through the drifting snow and the icy winds, headed towards Frozen Cloud Asgard. Murong Kaiengsu, Jun Lianqi, and the 4 others who had received the sound transmission long ago waited at the main entrance of Frozen Cloud Asgard. When they saw the Snow Phoenix flying in the distance, their beautiful eyes lit up with delight as they flew out to greet them. Even though Yun Qi had only been the master of Frozen Cloud Asgard for a short month, he had already saved them from disaster twice over. His power, charisma, sense of responsibility, and wholehearted benevolence made these ladies of snow and ice feel deep admiration for him, not at all repulsed by his position as a male Asgard master. The outcome of events between him and the Divine Phoenix sect had long ago spread far and wide, causing the entire sect to be filled with even more joy and pride. Stalks of exotic flowers and rare herbs that looked like icicles bloomed all around Frozen Cloud Asgard. They flickered with a crystalline luminescence and were unimaginably enchanting. causing Feng Zhuer to cry out in delight and wonder. These strange flowers and herbs were nurtured by the purest ice energy. Completely unblemished, they seemed to resemble Feng Zhuer, who was also pure and flawless. Yun Qi held Feng Zhuer's hand as they both flew down the back of the snow phoenix. They landed in front of Murong Kaiengsu, Mu Lani, Jun Lianqi, Chu Yuili, Feng Hanyu, and Feng Hengsu. My fellow senior masters and junior masters, I have returned. We welcome the Asgard Master, Murong Kaiengsu said as she came forward. She looked at Feng Zhuer, who was at Yun Qi's side, and her beautiful eyes were filled with deep shock. Asgard Master, who is the girl at your side? Ah, she's really pretty. Feng Hanyu's lips parted, and a small cry of surprise escaped from within. Amen, I really want to hug her too, Feng Hengsu said, nodding her head in approval as she stared at Feng Zhuer without blinking. They had all come for the sake of welcoming Yun Qi back, but now all of their attention was focused on Feng Zhuer. Her charming appearance was something that even these ladies of snow and ice could not help but gasp at in a daze. Feng Zhuer curtsied as she spoke in a soft, gentle voice. Divine Phoenix Sex Feng Zhuer greets the senior masters and junior masters of Frozen Cloud Asgard. Even though the girls in front of her all seemed close to her in age and could at most be called older sisters, since Yun Qi had called them senior masters and junior masters, she had to follow suit. Divine Phoenix Sects? This name caused Murong Kaiengsu and the rest of them to immediately become startled. Besides the 4 sacred grounds, this was the #1 sect in the profound sky continent, a supreme existence that all of the sects within the 7 nations could only gaze at from below. Immediately, all of them let out a startled cry at the same time. Princess Snow? Yup, Yun Qi said bluntly as he nodded his head. In the coming months, I will remain here and Zhuer will be staying here with me as well. I will put in all my effort into ensuring that the profound strength of all the senior masters and junior masters, and even the profound strength of all of the senior sisters and junior sisters, rises by an entire realm. Yun Qi's words shifted their focus from Feng Zhuer back to him. Yun Qi had said the same thing before he left for the Divine Phoenix sect, and right this moment, he said it again. Yet those words still managed to stun them completely. Chu Yuili said in a soft voice, Asgard Master, are you really capable of that? It was not that they did not believe Yun Qi. The words that he spoke were simply inconceivable. Even the 4 sacred grounds that had lorded over the realm for 10,000 years were definitely not able to perform such a feat. Yun Qi smiled with confidence as he replied, Even though I do not dare to guarantee that mistakes won't be made, I am certain that I will accomplish at least 90% of what I set out to do. Senior Master Murong, I will have to trouble you to inform all the senior sister and junior sisters of my return, and what I have just said so that they can prepare themselves. From today onwards, they must stop all of their profound energy cultivation. Instead, they should focus on using the frozen heart art to calm their hearts and stabilize their internal energy. Also, please help prepare an ice pavilion for Zhuer. The closer it is to mine, the better, Yun Qi said calmly and righteously. Understood, Asgard Master, do we need to convene a grand meeting for our sect? Murong Kaiengsu asked. No, there is no need to, but I request that all the senior masters and junior masters immediately use the frozen heart art to stabilize their internal energy. 4 hours from now, I will be waiting for the 6 senior and junior masters at Frozen End Divine Hall. Yun Qi's words made it clear that he was going to start helping them raise their profound strength from today onwards, and it was going to be an increase of 1 entire realm. Their hearts and souls throbbed, and they found it hard to keep calm. 3 years ago, after Yun Qi had opened all of their profound entrances, the 6 of them immediately saw their profound strength increase by leaps and bounds. All of them entered the Emperor Profound Realm, and Murong Kaiengsu, who was the strongest among them, had even reached the 8th level of the Emperor Profound Realm. If their profound strength really increased by an entire realm, it would mean that all 6 of them would become overlords. The Tyrant Profound Realm, a realm that they had never even dared to dream of before. It was also a legendary realm that no one had ever entered in the history of Frozen Cloud Asgard. They had no way of knowing what would happen 4 hours from now. They also could not imagine what kind of method would allow a throne to directly transcend boundaries and transform into an overlord in a short period of time. Under Yun Qi's instructions, the Frozen Cloud 7 fairies returned to their cultivation ice pavilions and used the frozen heart art to stabilize their internal energy. Yun Qi continued to hold Feng Zhuer's hand and even when they were in front of Murong Kayangsu and the others, he had not let go. After they left, Xianxia brought her towards the main gate. Zur, the interior of frozen cloud Asgard, is also very beautiful. There are many exotic flowers and rare herbs within that you won't be able to see elsewhere. The walls, rooms, and ice lanterns, all of them are made from snow and ice. There are also ice corals of different shapes and sizes. Right, there is also an icy pool that refuses to freeze even in place as cold as this. You will definitely like it here. Before, even when I looked at it from far away, I already felt that it was so pretty. I wish that I could stay in such a place forever just to wake up to this sight every day. Feng Zur said in a voice filled with anticipation. I happen to be the Asgard master of this place. Zur can naturally come whenever she wants to, but the cold energy in this place may slightly affect the awakening of your phoenix power. Xianxia said as he faintly smiled. Cold directly opposed the nature of phoenix flames. Given Feng Zur's level of strength, however, any negative side effects would be very faint. That doesn't matter at all, Feng Zur said as she laughed, looking as if she did not have a single care in the world before she asking curiously. Oh right, the 6 senior and junior masters from earlier all have a profound strength at the Emperor Profound realm. If their strength was able to increase by 1 entire realm, then they would enter the Tyrant Profound realm. Does such an awesome method really exist? We will need to use this. Xianxia opened his hand upwards. In the center of his palm lay an Overlord pellet that he had refined the night before. After he had retrieved the 49 different ingredients from the Black Moon Merchant Guild the day before, Xianxia used the Sky Poison Pearl to refine all of them, and in the end, he had managed to refine a full 3,000 Overlord pellets. The entire process had only taken less than a quarter of an hour. The value of the Overlord pellet could clearly be measured from the reactions it got from the illusory demon realms, 12 guardian families, and the profound sky continents Zai-Jai. Zai-Jai was someone who stood at the highest pinnacle of the profound sky continent, and his appraisal of the Overlord pellet was simply that one pellet would be able to astound the world. Right now, in Xianxia's possession, there were thousands of them, and every single one of them was of the highest quality without exception. Xianxia had no doubt that, within the profound sky continent, these 3,000 Overlord pellets would definitely be called a violation of natural order. When further supplemented by Xianxia's abilities, Frozen Cloud Asgard, which could only be viewed as a middling sect in the profound sky continent, would transform into one of the supreme sects within the profound sky continent in the span of a few short months. This short time would be equivalent to other sects' foundation and accumulation over the course of several thousand years. Moreover, the Sky Poison Pearl, which was ranked among heavenly profound treasures, was already considered a heaven-defying artifact. It was natural that it could easily produce such items which violated the natural order. This was the single best way that Xianxia could think of in order to raise the power of Frozen Cloud Asgard in the shortest amount of time. Feng Zur used her fingers to pick up the Overlord pellet, and after she used her profound energy to lightly probe it, astonishment flooded her face. Ah, what a powerful medicine! It is even more powerful than the most precious medicine within my family, the Rising Phoenix pellet. Furthermore, it feels like it is very hard to control the medicinal strength of this medicine. Just how are we going to use this to raise profound strength? Well, since Brother Yun said that it could, then it will definitely be able to. You will know when the time comes. Let's go, I'll bring you on a tour around Frozen Cloud Asgard. Amen. After bringing Zur around Frozen Cloud Asgard, they then arrived at the Frozen End Divine Hall. Murong Kayangsu and the rest were already waiting for them there. The door to the Frozen End Divine Hall was destroyed by Sun Moon Divine Halls Yi Qingsheng and Yi Zi, and could no longer be closed. In this short span of time, Xianxia was unable to find any way to repair it either. After entering the Frozen End Divine Hall, the first thing he did was to erect a profound barrier with all his might, because the thing he was about to do next definitely could not receive any outside interference. Asgard Master, we are already prepared, Murong Kayangsu solemnly said. All right. Xianxia stood in front of the 6 people and roughly sensed their profound aura, nodding. The method I'm about to use to raise your profound strengths is definitely not that mysterious as you think. If I were to describe it, it's actually very simple, and that's to forcefully lift your profound strength through the use of medical pellets of sufficient strength. After finishing his words, Xianxia was already holding onto an Overlord pellet in his hand. At that moment, the extremely powerful medicinal energy of the Overlord pellet was emitted out, and in merely an instant, it filled every corner of the Frozen End Divine Hall. The Frozen End Divine Hall was located beneath Frozen Cloud Asgard, and was colder than any other place in Frozen Cloud Asgard. However, following after the pervasion of the Overlord pellet's medicinal energy, the air actually began to carry an evident sultry feeling. The mental spirits of the 6 girls shook, and even the ice spirits that were naturally fluttering around their bodies were acting abnormally under the influence of the medicinal energy. This was merely the medicinal force of a single medicinal pellet, yet it could actually be powerful to such an extent, something that they had completely never even seen or heard of before. Murong Kaiengsu stretched out her fingers, and when her fingertips were in contact with the Overlord pellet, she shortly retracted them, as though she had been shocked by electricity, exclaiming, "Such tyrannical medicinal power!" The girls of Frozen Cloud were already astonished by the unbelievably powerful medicinal energy in the first place, and Murong Kaiengsu's reaction caused their shock to intensify. Chu Yueli asked, "Asgard Master, just what is this?" Its name is Overlord Pellet, and it is refined with 49 types of extremely violent and intensive ingredients. It contains an extremely concentrated and high-level energy inside it. If one is able to completely absorb and assimilate the energy inside it into their profound veins, then they will be able to raise their profound strength to an extremely high degree. After that, they can use the next several months to stabilize their foundation, Yunqi explained. So that's the case. With such a powerful medicinal energy, its effects must be really incredible as well, Feng Hengkong excitedly said. Asgard Master, Murong Kaiengsu's brows lightly knitted. Taking a step forward, she cautiously said, "The energy within this Overlord pellet is indeed incomparably astonishing. Earlier, although I had only probed it for a short moment, I'm absolutely certain that if all of the energy inside it is released, it's enough to destroy our entire Frozen Cloud Asgard in an instant." "Ah!" Feng Hengkong let out an astonished cry, while Chu Yueli and the rest had surprised expressions as well. "It's not that we are depreciating ourselves. With such a powerful medicinal energy, even though it had turned very docile from the refinement process, it's still definitely not something we can absorb with our current level. If we were to take it in directly, not only is it impossible to raise our profound strength, it might even bring about some extremely serious consequences." Murong Kaiengsu's profound strength was the strongest out of the 6. With her assertion, it was not even needed to mention the 5 other girls. Yun Qi did not deny it as he instantly nodded. Senior Master Murong is right. Among the 49 ingredients used to refine the Overlord pellet, none of them does not contain energy that's not tyrannical and violent. In the first place, it's mainly used to break through a realm bottleneck when one encounters it during cultivation. If one tries to forcefully take in the energy within, even Senior Master Murong, who possesses the strongest profound strength here, will suffer serious injuries. And if it's Hanyu and Hengsu, whose profound strength are slightly weaker, it might even result in the destruction of their profound veins. "Ah!" Feng Hengkong once again let out a soft cry. "Why does Asgard Master refer Senior Sister Murong as Senior Master Murong, but call us Hanyu and Hengsu?" Feng Hengsu softly said. "I don't know. In any case, Asgard Master has never referred to us as Junior Masters." Feng Hengkong pouted. "He must be thinking that we're easy to bully. Since that's the case, Asgard Master, I believe you must have long thought of a foolproof plan," Jun Lianqi said. Yun Qi's words did not disappoint them, rather, it had made their expectations rise even more. "Of course." Yun Qi gripped the Overlord pellet in his hand, and then he said with complete assurance, "Though the medicinal power of the Overlord pellet is extremely ferocious, with my unique profound energy and my understanding of medicinal knowledge, it's possible for me to completely control it. In regards to its effects, you will find out immediately. Senior Master Murong, we will first start with you then. If it's purely the usage of one's own profound energy, even Yun Qi would find it a bit strained to guide the medicinal energy inside the pellet to break through a bottleneck, and to aid someone in forcefully absorbing all of the energy within the Overlord pellet. It could be said that in the entire profound sky continent, not a single person would be able to do so, and that included the masters of the 4 great sacred grounds. However, it was possible for Yun Qi because he possessed the sky poison pearl. When it came to controlling medicinal energy under the heavens, there was nothing else that could surpass the sky poison pearl in that regard, if it could be done flawlessly on the most difficult of medicinal energy control. then adding Yun Qi's profound energy guidance and nourishment from nature's essence, it definitely wouldn't be too troubling of a task to have an Emperor Profound physique completely absorb the energy of the Overlord pellet. Upon being called, Murong Kaiengsu stood forward, sat in front of Yun Qi and took the Overlord pellet off Yun Qi's hand. Earlier, she had personally probed into the terror of its medicinal energy. If she were to swallow it down directly just like that, the consequences would be simply disastrous. However, because of her trust towards Yun Qi, her expression was very calm. "Asgard Master, do I immediately eat it now?" "Wait a minute." Yun Qi once again stretched out his hand, took out another 4 Overlord pellets and placed them all together into Murong Kaiengsu's hands. "Take all 5 of them together." "Ah!" Murong Kaiengsu was stunned for a moment, and the faces of the other 5 girls were filled with disbelief as well. With the medicinal energy of the Overlord pellet, just a single pellet was enough to destroy a throne. If one were to swallow 5 pellets at the same time, wouldn't that mean that even one's entire body would be burnt away in an instant? Senior Master Murong, be at ease. I will definitely not do something that will harm Senior Master Murong. If I don't have sufficient confidence myself, even if a crisis is occurring before my eyes, I will definitely not choose this method. Yun Qi nodded towards Murong Kaiengsu and spoke with an incomparably stern tone. Murong Kaiengsu's astonishment and doubt merely lasted for a short 3 breaths of time, and then under Yun Qi's gaze, she slowly nodded. Raising her jade-like hand, her beautiful lips opened, and then she swallowed all 5 Overlord pellets in an instant. Jun Lianqi, Mu Lani, Chu Yuili, Feng Hanyu, Feng Hengsu, as well as Feng Zuer, who was by Yun Qi's side, all had taut heartstrings. Their 6 alluring snow-white faces carried deeply tensed expressions, because with just a single and lightest mishap, Murong Kaiengsu's profound veins would be crippled, and at the heaviest, she would lose her life. With worry and anxiety at this intensity, even the hopes of possibly achieving the Tyrant Profound had been completely suppressed. On the contrary, Murong Kaiengsu slowly closed her eyes. Her snow-white face was still as cold as profound ice. "All right," Yun Qi took a deep breath and stretched out both of his hands. In his palms, profound energy and nature's essence surged at the same time. "Senior Master Murong, this entire process will take about 4 to 6 hours. Within this period of time, you best maintain a state that is as calm as water. No matter what kind of changes occur in your body, you must definitely not circulate your profound energy. The moment I release the medicinal energy within the 5 Overlord pellets, you will sense countless of profound energy flowing haphazardly in your body. A part of these profound energy will charge out of your body. So, fellow senior masters and junior masters, it will be best to stand a little further away in order to prevent sustaining any injuries." Also, Yun Qi paused for a moment as his brows slightly sank. His expression and tone turned especially stern and righteous. "Senior Master Murong, because you are unable to circulate your profound energy to protect your body, the snow robe on your body will also be completely annihilated by the bursting flow of profound energy. When that time comes, you must focus your state of mind. Do not be flustered." Murong Kaiengsu, who even carried a calm expression when she directly swallowed the 5 Overlord pellets, instantly opened her eyes wide. The light in her eyes stirred with hints of panic earlier. Yun Qi said that the entire process would take 4 to 6 hours. Wouldn't that mean she would have to be facing Yun Qi naked for such a long period of time? The girls of Frozen Cloud were icy and pure their entire lives. Even the lightest of contact with males in the outside world were extremely small in number. 3 years ago, when her back had to be bare while Yun Qi opened her profound veins, it had already caused her to feel troubled and unsettled whenever she saw Yun Qi in the following months. Whenever she occasionally recalled it, her heart would fluster for a moment as well. If she had to face him while naked for 4 to 6 hours, she was simply unable to imagine it. But the 5 Overlord pellets had already been consumed. Even if she wanted to quit now, it was no longer possible. Furthermore, Yun Qi did not give her, nor the other Frozen Cloud girls, time to respond and regret. One of his hands pressed onto Murong Kaiengsu's chest, while the other was pressed on her lower abdomen. Then he quickly said, "Zuer, guard me. Before I'm done, do not allow anyone to approach or interrupt." "Amen, I understand." Feng Zuer defended by Yun Qi's side. With her present, Yun Qi could completely focus on his task, without anything to worry. When Yun Qi's voice fell, his profound energy and nature's essence, like 2 calm but majestic streams, poured into Murong Kaiengsu's body. The mystical energy of the sky poison pearl was poured in along with Yun Qi's profound energy as well. And with a gentle, incomparably calm method, it slowly released the medicinal energy within the 5 overlord pellets. In an instant, Murong Kaiengsu clearly sensed an incomparably powerful hurricane of profound energy swirling within her own body. And then, it turned into countless streams of profound energy, charging into every single corner and every single one of her meridians in her body. Whoosh! A non-trembling, yet incomparably dull roar suddenly rang within the frozen end divine hall. There emerged a formless and colorless hurricane of profound energy, but it was evidently distorting the surrounding space, swirling up around Murong Kaiengsu's body. In a mere instant, it had completely minced away the entire snow robe on her body. The shockwave of the spilled-over profound energy quickly dispersed, blowing Chu Yueli and the rest, who were caught, a dozen meters away. The faces of the girls all lost their color. Although they had thought that the energy contained within the 5 overlord pellets would definitely be extremely frightening, they had never expected that it would actually be frightening to such an extent. The medicinal energy had only just been released, and it was merely a shockwave from the energy that was spilled over. Yet, it was actually powerful to such an astonishing extent. The force of energy Murong Kaiengsu's body was bearing was simply unimaginable. Their worries had very quickly turned into a much deeper astonishment. Murong Kaiengsu's snow robe was minced into shreds, and not a single strand of it was left on her body. However, the surface of her body was not the least bit injured. Only her face was slightly dyed red. Clearly, there weren't any hints of her having suffered internal injuries. Her clothes were really completely shredded away. Feng Hengkong held her chest with her 2 hands, her face completely tensed. "SHH, don't speak." Feng Hengkong hurriedly reached out her hand and covering her lips. With her snow robe completely shredded, Murong Kaiengsu's brows twitched. Her breathing and heartbeat instantly turned hurried. Her mind entered a state of panic, and her mental energy was even incomparably focused on the changes in her body. She slightly opened her eyes and looked straight at Yun Qi, who was merely a shoulder length away from her, only to realize that his brows were tightly knitted. His expression was heavy, and his breathing was even more so as calm as still water. Not only did he not reveal a hint of lust because of her completely shredded snow robe, even his eyes were tightly closed. Murong Kaiengsu took in a light breath, closed her eyes, and quickly went into a focused state. Following after the successive releases of medicinal energy, the streams of profound energy in her body grew. And apparently, every single one of these thousands of profound energy streams was much stronger compared to the profound energy she could release with her full strength. It was hard to imagine that such a small medicinal pellet could actually release energy of this level. Furthermore, all of these energy didn't truly belong to her own body. So if they were to go out of control within her body, merely a single stream would be enough to heavily injure her. And with so many of them, if all of them were to go out of control, she was certain that, in just a few breaths of time, it would already be enough for her to die from self-explosion. Similarly, just a single stream of external profound energy like these was extremely hard to control. However, she could clearly sense that, although the profound energy were circulating at extreme speeds in her body, not a single one of them was moving haphazardly. It was as though all of them were being firmly controlled by an incomparably mystical force, not even letting a single one of them to run amok. She could faintly sense the existence of this mystical energy, yet she was unable to perceive just what kind of energy it was in the slightest. In addition, there was another stream of energy that was as calm as a gentle breeze, gradually latching onto every single one of the profound energy streams coming from the overlord pellet, causing these profound energy to quickly slow down, and actually making them gentler and grow in affinity. Then every single one of these profound energy streams was released and dispersed, turning into even smaller profound energy streams. And not only did these dispersed profound energy streams fail to cause any damage to her body, they were actually refining her profound channels while flowing through them. Finally, all of the streams gathered towards her profound veins. 2 hours passed. The medicinal energy of all 5 overlord pellets were released, and the hurricane of profound energy surrounding Murong Kaiengsu expanded once again. And at this moment, Yun Qi's hands finally moved. They began to slowly shift across Murong Kaiengsu's body, from her collarbone to her shoulder, and then to her left abdomen. And with every single shift, they would stop for 100 breaths of time or so, and every stopping point of his palms were where her profound entrances were. Senior sister's profound aura is rising. Jun Lianqi involuntarily let out a soft cry. With incomparable clarity, every single one of them sensed that whenever Yun Qi's palm moved to the next position on Murong Qiangsu's body, her profound strength would always quickly rise a notch higher. And it's even an increase of a very large degree. Mu Lani softly said as her pair of beautiful eyes looked at Murong Qiangsu unblinkingly. By now, all of their focus were no longer on Murong Qiangsu's naked body. And at this moment, a white fog suddenly rose around Murong Qiangsu's jade body. Several dozens of ice spirits suddenly appeared in the air before quickly dispersing. The entire frozen end divine hall was suddenly filled with cold air that came from an unknown source, which then condensed in an instant. She broke through. Senior sister made a breakthrough. Although Chu Yueli had been suppressing herself with all her might all this while, at this moment, she still wasn't able to contain herself from letting out her voice. As fellow junior and senior sisters of the same sect, all of them could clearly sense that Murong Qiangsu's profound strength had undergone a change at that instant earlier. From the 8th level of the Emperor Profound Realm, she directly made a breakthrough into the 9th level of the Emperor Profound Realm, and merely 2 hours had passed, and this rise in profound strength had only just begun. Under the gaze of the girls who did not dare to shift their eyes away for even a moment, another 15 minutes had passed, and an ice fog that was even colder than the one earlier floated above Murong Qiangsu's body, which was then accompanied by another change in her profound aura. She broke through to the 10th level of the Emperor Profound Realm. Heavens, Asgard Master really did not lie to us. Senior sister Murong doesn't look as though she's suffering from even the least bit of injuries. Yet her profound strength is making consecutive breakthroughs, as though it's a dream, perhaps it's true, perhaps it's possible to reach the Tyrant Profound Realm. Feng Hengkong covered her lips with both of her hands, unable to prevent herself from speaking softly. Her two beautiful eyes were even more so flashing with crystal-like glow. But of course, when has Asgard Master ever lied to us? Feng Hengkong was adopting the same exact posture as Feng Hengkong, her two small hands tightly held onto her tender lips. Their inner hearts were astonished and excited, intense to the point where it was no longer possible to express them in words. Yun Qi's palm once again moved. This time, his left and right hands separately pressed onto the left and right jade pool entrances. To put it more bluntly, Yun Qi's two hands were firmly grasping onto Murong Qiangsu's breasts. Murong Qiangsu's entire body lightly shook, as though she was jolted by electricity. In an instant, her beautiful eyes opened, and at the same time, Yun Qi's two eyes, which had been closed the entire time, slightly opened as well. Their eyes instantly made contact. The light in Murong Qiangsu's eyes trembled as she dodged his gaze at lightning speed. Then, she tightly closed her eyes again, not daring to open them once more. The clear sense of touch on her body made her heart panic, unable to calm down. The surrounding frozen cloud girls had long widened their beautiful eyes and were close to voicing out at the same time. Calm your heart down, do not have unnecessary thoughts. Within Murong Qiangsu's heart, Yun Qi's profound energy sound transmission sounded. Her soul shook as she hurriedly adjusted her breathing, removing all unnecessary thoughts and placed her focus on her internal energy with all her might. As for Yun Qi himself, after he opened a slit of his eyes, he had never closed them since. His two eyes concentrated on Murong Qiangsu's chest, as though he was greedily disgracing her snow jade skin. The snow robes of frozen cloud Asgard were all slightly constrained, and when she was in her snow robe, Murong Qiangsu's chest area had always been perked up. As such, it was imaginable just how bountiful they were under her snow robe. Though Yun Qi had once seen her body at the frozen cloud wintry spring back then, it was merely a short glance, and with the cover from the night, he did not manage to see them too vividly. Only today did he astonishingly realize that Murong Qiangsu actually possessed a pair of such bountiful, large globes. His 5 fingers were already spread to the widest, yet he had only managed to grasp half of it. Among all of the women Yun Qi had experienced with, even the most bountiful Chu Yuechen and Cang Yue both paled in comparison. Let alone little demon Empress who could only barely compete with Jasmine. Not only were they huge, even their bounciness were extremely fine and soft. The jade snow balm was filled with the traces of his fingers, and even when he consecutively and quietly exerted some force into them, he still failed to firmly grasp them. The sensation he felt was even more so silky, like touching pearl powder. Yet, under her chest muscle, her body was exceptionally slender, revealing her curvature. What nonsense are you thinking about? Hurry and concentrate? While his mind was swaying, Xianxia's palms inadvertently made a rubbing motion, when suddenly, Jasmine's cold shout rang in his consciousness, causing his entire body to quiver. He quickly threw away all lustful thoughts, contained his emotions, and placed all of his focus on the control and guidance of the medicinal energy. His forehead was close to dripping with lines of cold sweat. He had actually been distracted. If Jasmine had not woken him up from his senses, he would have been close to losing control of a portion of the medicinal energy. At such an important time, dirty thoughts could still sprout in his mind. He's simply incurable. Jasmine angrily muttered to herself, and he could clearly execute control from her back, yet he just had to do it from the front. This despicable, shameless, and perverted sex fiend. Oh! Hunger, who had slept the entire day, was woken up by Jasmine's furious, condemning voice. She half opened her sleepy eyes, let out a lazy yawn, and drowsily said, "Big sis Jasmine, you seem to be angry. Did Master do something wrong again? It's something a child shouldn't know. You're not allowed to look outside, be obedient, and go back to sleep." Jasmine's little face was filled with seriousness. "Oh," Hunger obediently responded in compliance as her body rolled up like a kitten, and the moment she tilted her head, she was back to sleeping soundly. The growth in Murong Xianxia's profound aura continued, and not only did it not gradually slow down, it was even growing at a faster rate. Another 15 minutes had passed, and the streams of profound energy surrounding Murong Xianxia suddenly turned calm, and then bit by bit, it eventually stopped. Suddenly the streams, which were driven towards the entire Frozen End Divine Hall, reversed and wildly poured into her body. "What's going on?" Chu Yueli said in alarm. The pouring of profound energy streams grew faster, as though the profound energy within the entire space, or even within the entire heaven and earth, were gathering at Murong Xianxia. Murong Xianxia's eyelashes began to tremble, and a layer of ice-blue radiance slowly appeared around her body. Under the radiance, her skin gradually turned crystal clear like that of the purest, flawless white snow. Then faintly, a glorious icy glow, which only 1,000-year profound ice could possibly have, could be seen flowing about. Even her initially ink-black long hair had gradually turned into a shallow ice-blue color. It was as though her entire body at this moment had now truly possessed what could be called skin of ice and bones of jade. This is... The girls of Frozen Cloud were all stunned. The changes in Murong Xianxia's body were not foreign to them. Whenever Xianxia Cang Yue unleashed the 7th stage of the Frozen End Divine Arts, her body would undergo such a change. In this state, the power of the ice profound arts she used would surge explosively. However, they had only seen such a phenomenon on Xianxia Cang Yue's body. It had never appeared on anyone else, and it had never appeared in the records of Frozen Cloud Asgard either. At this moment, an ice-blue-colored radiance was suddenly released from Murong Xianxia's body, illuminating the entire Frozen End Divine Hall in a blue luster. Within the silence, layers upon layers of thick ice sheets quickly condensed on the Frozen End Divine Hall's walls and ground. In a blink of an eye, it turned this stone room, which was made of heavenly firm jade, into a room of ice. In the air, glowing white spots shone, before turning into dancing ice spirits one after another. These ice spirits were far different from the ice spirits they were familiar with. The profound aura and the presence of life emitted by every one of these ice spirits were incomparably rich, as though they were independent creatures, complete with their own lives. Even the laughter they made as they danced about could be faintly heard. These ice spirits willfully flew and danced within the Frozen End Divine Hall, sprinkling down dancing snowflakes. And then, as though they were being attracted by something, all of them flew towards Murong Xianxia and assimilated into her icy jade body. Murong Xianxia's blue hair fluttered in the air, and at this moment, the ice-blue radiance being emitted from her body turned extremely dense. Even though it looked calm and gentle, it was near blinding to the eyes. "Senior Master Murong has completed a great realm breakthrough," Feng Hengkong lightly called out. If not because of being afraid of startling Xianxia, their emotions would have long been completely out of control. The moment the ice-blue radiance on Murong Xianxia's body reached its peak, every single one of them could clearly sense that Murong Xianxia's profound aura had undergone a complete qualitative change. Even though it was the frozen cloud aura they were extremely familiar with, it was unbelievably rich, deep, and vast. It far surpassed former Asgard Master Gong Yuxian's, and had even far surpassed Xianxia Yue's, someone who had already reached half-step into the Tyrant Profound realm early on. In their entire lifetime, they had never felt a frozen cloud aura that had reached such a high realm. It's the Tyrant Profound realm, our frozen cloud Asgard's first overlord in history. Mulaney forcefully held onto her lips, not allowing herself to lose control, and shout out with an overly loud voice. The light stirring in her beautiful eyes looked as though they were close to condensing into tears. An incredible miracle. Asgard Master has really done it. Chu Yueli's lightly raised her jade finger and did a hushing action, causing the girls to immediately lower their voices. With all her might, she suppressed herself from letting out another hint of sound, however. Her expression still looked so excited to the point of losing control, even if they already had incomparable trust and respect towards Xianxia. When it came to the matter of being able to directly raising one's profound strength by a single great realm in a short amount of time, it was still something they couldn't help but doubt. A few years back, when Xia Qingyu became a throne because of the Emperor awakening Heart Lotus, it was already a miracle that had never once happened before in the profound sky continent. To directly raise a throne into an overlord within the boundaries of the entire profound sky continent, it was simply an overly exaggerated myth. It was 1,000,000 times more incredible than the time when he had said that he could open all of their profound entrances back then. 3 years ago, he brought about a miracle for the entire frozen cloud Asgard by allowing the profound strength of the frozen cloud's 7 fairies to rise rapidly in just a short few years, which then made their future achievements unforeseeable. And now he once again brought another miracle upon miracles for frozen cloud Asgard. At the same time, they recalled what Grand Asgard Master Feng Hengkong had said before. If frozen cloud Asgard could make it through the 1,000-year Great Tribulation, then it would definitely flourish for the next 10,000 years. And right now in front of them, Xianxia, whom their eyes were tightly fixated on, might. No, he was definitely the person who would bring frozen cloud Asgard to a flourishing 10,000 years. Murong Kaingsu's rise in profound strength did not stop right after her breakthrough into the Tyrant Profound realm. Rather, it continued to rapidly soar. Furthermore, the increase was evidently growing faster. A snowy mist floated on her body as ice spirits flew and danced about. Her profound aura was breaking through the limits with every breath. First level of the Tyrant Profound realm, second level of the Tyrant Profound realm, third level of the Tyrant Profound realm, fourth level of the Tyrant Profound realm, fifth level of the Tyrant Profound realm. The frozen cloud girls were passing through every moment with an astonishment of an extreme degree. To them, breaking through into the Tyrant Profound realm was already a dreamlike miracle. Never did they think that achieving the Tyrant Profound realm was actually just the beginning. In just less than 2 short hours, Murong Kaingsu's profound aura continued to surge explosively from the first level of the Tyrant Profound realm, leading to consecutive breakthroughs from the first level to the second level, third level, fourth level. Only after the fourth breakthrough, and after rising up to mid-stage of the fifth level, did it finally slowly come to a stop. In just a short 5 hours, Murong Kaingsu broke through to become a level 5 overlord from a level 8 throne. The aura on Murong Kaingsu's body began to sink, and the cold air was dispersing bit by bit as well. At this moment, Xianxia's hands slowly moved away from Murong Kaingsu's body. His chest undulated as he forcefully exhaled. The girl's eyes also shifted from Murong Kaingsu to Xianxia. Evidently, the feelings of excitement on every single one of their snow-white faces were already intense to the point of being indescribable with words. And the eyes they used to stare at Xianxia were filled with luster, as though they were looking up to a god. Xianxia slowly opened his eyes. Following after the relaxation of his body and mind, a large amount of sweat fell off Xianxia's forehead like rain, and his breathing turned especially hurried. 3 years ago, when he opened the profound entrances for the girls of Frozen Cloud, the entire process was incomparably easy. The amount of fatigue added up was merely a few breaths of time. During the rest of the time, he was mostly touching their jade backs wantonly, taking advantage of them in a justified manner, and the exhausted expression he had at the end was purely an act. However, it was different this time, as during the entire process he had to focus his mind and soul. Profound energy, the power of the great way of the Buddha, the power of the sky poison pearl, and mental energy, all these had to be made use of, and during the 4 hours or so, he did not dare to have a moment of rest. If not for him possessing the dragon god's soul, allowing his mental energy to far surpass an average person's. It was simply impossible to maintain one's concentration for such a long time with such a large loss of mental energy. The consumption of profound energy was especially large as well. This time, the fatigue state he had after completion was completely genuine. Fortunately, everything went smoothly just like how he imagined, while the effects of 5 Overlord pellets had far surpassed his predictions. After all, although they were similarly referred to as Overlord pellets, the Overlord pellet refined by Xianxia with the Sky Poison Pearl, whether it was the medicinal energy or effectiveness, had several times surpassed the Overlord pellet refined by Duke Baoking Palace of Illusory Demon Realm. However, to have 5 Overlord pellets achieve such an astonishing feat, in the profound Sky Continent, this could only be done by Xianxia, who possessed the Sky Poison Pearl. If it was anyone else, even if 10,000 Overlord pellets were to be passed to him, it would definitely be impossible to increase a person's profound strength from mid-stage Emperor Profound Realm to mid-stage Tyrant Profound Realm in 5 short hours. The time spent was roughly the same as my predictions. Xianxia opened his eyes, and a relaxed smile surfaced on his sweat-filled face as his calm yet focused gaze landed on Murong Kaiengsu. A pair of large, snowy peaks like a heap of lustering jade was trembling up and down as she breathed. As long as he raised his hands, even without moving his body forward, he could once again firmly grasp them in his hands. Murong Kaiengsu's beautiful eyes had already opened as well. Raising her jade arm, her eyes were trembling and blurry as she felt the majestic, profound aura flowing in her body. For a moment, she simply wasn't able to believe that this power was actually hers. And other than the dreamlike feeling of obtaining a new leash on life throughout her entire body, there wasn't a single bit of discomfort. It was as though there wasn't the least bit of side effects. Congratulations, Senior Master Murong. Not only have you become an overlord, you're even at the middle stages, Feng Hengkong smilingly said. Senior Sister, this is wonderful, wonderful. Congratulations, Senior Sister Murong, for becoming an overlord. The first overlord in Frozen Cloud Asgard's history, surpassing the Frozen Cloud ancestor of 1,000 years ago, Mulani excitedly said. Under the intense excitement and unsuppressible joy, Murong Kaiengsu's transformation had truly proven that Xianxia's astonishing words earlier weren't the least bit untrue. Rather, it had turned out to be much more astonishing than what he had described, because not only had Murong Kaiengsu broken through and became an overlord, she had actually directly stepped into the middle stages of the Tyrant Profound Realm. And this also meant that with Xianxia's help, their profound strength could also miraculously rise by leaps and bounds, just like Murong Kaiengsu. Crossing through a great realm and the dreamlike growth in profound strength, naturally, no one other than Murong Kaiengsu herself could sense it ever so clearly and vividly. With all her might, she suppressed her unquellable excitement, moved from her sitting posture into a kneel, and fully bowed towards Xianxia. Asgard Master, thank you for bestowing another grace of transformation. Asgard Master's grace is difficult to repay even with this Murong Kaiengsu's poor lifetime. Senior Master Murong, you must not be this polite. Xianxia hurriedly stepped forward and grabbed onto her jade arm. Since I have been entrusted the duty of being the Asgard Master of Frozen Cloud Asgard by the former Asgard Master, then no matter what I do for the Frozen Cloud Asgard, it is something that should be done. Senior Sister, Murong, Feng Hengkong could not help but voice out. Then she spoke with a soft and timid voice. Don't you want to wear some clothes first? Murong Kaiengsu's body shivered, and only then did she recall that her entire body at the moment didn't have the least bit of cover. Letting out a low eek sound, her 2 arms covered her chest at lightning speed. She opened her jade palm, but the spatial ring on her finger was also destroyed by the swirl of profound energy earlier. Chu Yueli hurriedly took out a snow robe, stepped forward and placed it on Murong Kaiengsu's body. Although Murong Kaiengsu was maintaining her calm with all her might, her actions of wearing the snow robe was evidently panicky. When she had finally worn it properly, a layer of light glow, which had seemingly never appeared before, emerged on her snow-like face. Xianxia's eyes trembled as he gave Feng Hengkong a ruthless glare. It's all your fault. Would it kill you not to remind her? Cough. Xianxia let out a heavy cough and said with a stern look, Senior Master Murong, your profound strength has consecutively risen by 7 realms, and you have even crossed the divide of a great realm in the middle of it. You should know that with a breakthrough of such a large degree, it will definitely bring about a loose foundation. and a period of time is also needed to once again familiarize yourself in controlling your profound energy. So for the next 2 months, Senior Master Murong, you must definitely solidify your foundation with all your might. The amount of profound energy being circulated cannot surpass 70% as well. I understand. Murong Kaiengsu was, after all, still a frozen cloud fairy, so her expression was already completely calm, though in regards to how she felt in her heart, only she would know best. It has gotten slightly late today, tomorrow. I will refine the Overlord pellets for Senior Master Jun and Senior Master Mu, so as to aid the Senior Masters in breaking through into the Tyrant Profound Realm, Yun Qi said, while looking at Jun Lianqi and Mu Lanny. With his current profound strength and mental strength, he could manage to go through the process twice, but 3 times would be a little strained. Thank you, Asgard Master, Jun Lianqi and Mu Lanny replied at the same time. The profound energy possessed by fellow Senior Masters and Junior Masters are grand and rich, and hence refining 5 Overlord pellets at the same time is tolerable. In terms of profound cultivation, at the very most, it can be risen up to the 5th level of the Tyrant Profound Realm, and this is also the limit that can be achieved by the medicinal energy of the Overlord pellet. Above the 5th level of the Tyrant Profound Realm, no matter how many more Overlord pellets are used, it's impossible to rise any further. Once all 6 fellow Senior Masters and Junior Masters have achieved the Tyrant Profound Realm, I will then proceed to open the profound entrances of all Senior Sisters and Junior Sisters in the sect. And then, according to their cultivation levels and physiques, I will refine a single 1/2 to 2 Overlord pellets, allowing them to at least improve by a single great realm. Yun Qi used a calm tone while he spoke of matters that was capable of dumbfounding any sect in the profound sky continent. But Asgard Master, won't this delay your own cultivation a lot? Feng Hengkong said out of concern. It won't. Yun Qi shook his head and said with a smile, on the contrary, while I'm refining the Overlord pellet, it tempers my profound energy and mental energy by an extremely high degree. So to me, it's a form of cultivation as well. I estimate that after completing all of my Senior Sisters and Junior Sisters improvements, my profound cultivation and mental strength will rise by a huge margin as well. Yun Qi's words allowed them to feel slightly at ease. They circled around Murong Kaienai, feeling the immense change in her profound aura from her body. Even after a long time, the excited and enthusiastic expressions on their faces were unable to quell. Exiting the frozen end Divine Hall, the outside was already obscured by the color of the night. Big Brother Yun, I have a question for you. Feng Zuer's small hand was held by Yun Qi. Bathing under the luster of the snow-white light unique to the snow region of extreme ice, they walked towards the ice pavilion at the east side. Why don't you use the Overlord pellet to increase your own profound strength? Even though Big Brother Yun is so incredible in terms of level of profound strength, you're still at the 3rd level of the Emperor Profound Realm. My profound veins and profound strength regulations are rather different from others. Although my profound strength is only at the Emperor Profound Realm, in terms of realm of power, I have already surpassed the Tyrant Profound Realm, so the Overlord pellet is completely ineffective on me. Yun Qi was not surprised that Feng Zuer would ask this question. He believed that Murong Kaiengsu and the rest of them must have the same doubt in their hearts. He could only give a very vague reply in that regard. So that's the case. I have always felt that Big Brother Yun's profound strength was very strange as well. Even though your level is clearly very low, you can actually be that powerful. Within the snowy light, Feng Zuer turned her face and looked at Yun Qi, her eyes sparkling. Not only is Big Brother Yun so incredible, so mysterious, you're also really very kind. Kind? Yun Qi turned his face over and looked at her as well. Very seldom had he heard of people using this word to describe him. He could even imagine Jasmine scoffing with her nose held high from hearing these words. That's right. Making eye contact with Yun Qi, Feng Zuer smiled. When facing my royal father's wrongdoings, even though Big Brother Yun was clearly really furious, in the end, you still chose to forgive him. Big Brother Yun has even done so much more for frozen Cloud Asgard. The level of the medicinal energy emitted by those Overlord pellets is even higher than the highest levels of medicinal pellets in our Divine Phoenix sect. In order to raise Senior Master Murong's profound strength, not only has Big Brother Yun taken out so many of them in an instant, you have even worked so hard to the point of almost causing yourself to collapse. Yun Qi, however, shook his head with a smile as his voice slightly softened. Although I don't see myself as an evil person, I have never seen myself as a good person either. It's even more impossible for me to be a kind person. The one who forgave your royal father was not me, but your big sister Cang Yue. If we're talking about forgiveness, it's your royal father who had forgiven me. Ah, Feng Zhuo was confused. I killed 4 of your royal father's sons, 4 of your royal brothers. You have grown by the phoenix god's side since you were young, so you seldom come into contact with your royal brothers and do not have any feelings for them. Thus, when it came to their deaths, your feelings were very mild. But your royal father is different. In regards to me, he only carries hatred, and his hatred is very pure at that. If not because of you, he would have definitely and unhesitantly ripped me into shreds using the most brutal of methods possible. However, the love he has for you is similarly pure as well, and his love for you has far surpassed the hatred he has for me. Adding that he knows I won't hurt you, he chose to follow your wishes, leaving his most beloved person with his most hated person. Speaking of which, back then, when I went to your divine phoenix sect to exact revenge for my royal father and Blue Wind, if not for you, I would have definitely brought away your royal father in an instant, so that I could kill him right in front of my royal father's tomb. But because of you, I could never kill him even till the end. Right now, your royal father is the same as well. Even if his hatred for me grows 10 times more, even if he has the absolute strength to kill me, he will no longer try to kill me. Although he was talking about hatred and revenge, Xianxia's face carried a very warm smile. Zhuo, 2 of us men bear deep hatred for each other, but because of you, we are unable to kill one another. Big brother Yun? Feng Zhuo slowed down her footsteps. Water mists lightly surfaced in her eyes as she said infatuatedly, Royal Father gave me my first life, while Big Brother Yun gave me my second life. Meeting Royal Father and Big Brother Yun is my greatest fortune in this life of mine. Your Royal Father and I feel the same way, Xianxia said with a smile. Raising his head, he looked towards the frozen cloud Asgard under the curtains of the night. His voice once again softened. In regards to why I'm being so good to frozen cloud Asgard, actually, it's merely for my own sake. Ah, Feng Zhuo was once again confused. Xianxia was silent for a short moment. Then he gradually spoke up and told Feng Zhuo about the matters concerning him and Chu Yuechen. From their encounter at Blue Wind Imperial City, to the agreement he made with her in order to protect himself, to their undesirable fate in the wasteland of death, to their reunion at Heavenly Sword Villa. And also, Xianxia was a person who was extremely vigilant and suspicious of others. But in front of Feng Zhuo, he could not sustain the wall in his heart in the slightest. This made him tell her everything about the relationship he had with Chu Yuechen. Their 2 shoulders touched, and their footsteps were very, very slow. Even after he was done talking, they were still a considerable distance away from the ice pavilion. Big Brother Yun's child? Feng Zhuo lightly muttered, as though for a moment she was unable to accept this existence that had caught her by surprise. He's already 4 years old now, Xianxia said with hazy eyes. I hope that he's a boy. That way he can protect his mother like a little man until I find them. But I have thrown them aside for 5 years. It's been exactly 5 years, yet there's still no news of them. That year, your big sister Cang Yue spared no costs in mobilizing the entire Blue Wind Army to undergo a search. 3 years ago, I commissioned the Black Moon Merchant Guild to undergo a search as well. The Black Moon Merchant Guild possessed the most powerful information network in the entire continent. However, they have searched for 3 years, yet they have similarly found nothing. It's as though the 2 of them had completely disappeared from profound sky continent. Big Brother Yun? Feng Zhuo's heart was in pain. From Xianxia, she could sense deep depression, self-reproach, and pain that he was trying very hard to conceal. With every new day I'm unable to find them, my heart grows a little bit heavier. The biggest reason why I'm doing so much for frozen cloud Asgard is because this is the place little fairy grew up in, the place which carries most of her feelings and memories. Only by doing so will it barely ease the guilt I have towards her in the end. It's nothing more than to console myself. Xianxia's voice was filled with bitterness. Big Brother Yun, don't worry. Your little fairy and your child will definitely, absolutely be safe and sound. Big Brother Yun is such a good person, so the heavens definitely won't be heartless to do such cruel things to Big Brother Yun. Feng Zhuo tightly grasped onto Xianxia's palm with her 2 hands and consoled him with a soft voice. Oh, right. I will immediately send a sound transmission to Royal Father and have him mobilize people to search the boundaries of Divine Phoenix Nation. No need. Xianxia lightly shook his head. Even the Black Moon Merchant Guild was unable to find any traces. A regular method wouldn't. In another 2 to 3 months, I will be able to borrow the use of a special method. When that time comes, then I will definitely be able to find them. Even the Black Moon Merchant Guild was unable to find any traces. Anyone would be very clear of what these words meant. But Xianxia was unwilling to believe that was the case, no matter what. Even if there's only a 1 in 100 million chance, he would only believe in that 1 in 100 million possibility. Jasmine would soon completely free herself from the devilish poison. When that time comes, then he would be able to find them. Definitely. Sensing Xianxia's sunken feelings, Feng Hengkong lightly bit her lips, and then she pulled his arm, pointing to that tallest piece of profound ice within frozen cloud Asgard. "Big brother Yun, accompany me there to see the snow, all right?" As night fell, the two did not return to the ice pavilion. Instead, they sat atop of that profound ice that was several dozen meters in height, looking at the boundless snow under the curtains of the night from afar. The sky above Phoenix City is light red. The sky above Blue Wind Imperial City is deep blue, while the sky here is white. Feng Hengkong raised her head, gazing at the starless, ashen night sky. The smell of the air is different as well. Even the white snow portrays different sceneries during the day and night. The world is really more colorful than I imagined it to be. Feng Hengkong looked at the snow and night sky, while Xianxia spent more of his time watching her. After a while, he said with a smile, "But even after adding all of them up, they're still not as beautiful as Hengkong." Under the night sky, frozen cloud Asgard was beautiful like an illusory realm, but Feng Hengkong, while illuminated by the snowy light, was like the brightest pearl within this illusory realm. Her existence had suppressed all of the glittering radiance between the heaven and earth. Hee. Feng Hengkong heartily laughed as she leaned the side of her forehead on Xianxia's shoulder. "In the past, there will always be people who says that I'm beautiful, but I never felt too much about those comments. But now I'm feeling very happy, and even hope that once I grow up, I can look even more beautiful. Why? Because that way, I can receive even more of Big Brother Yun's love and praises." She lightly hung down her forehead as she felt a little embarrassed to look at Xianxia in the eyes. Xianxia's heart warmed. Reaching out his hand, he lightly wrapped around Feng Hengkong's soft, slender waist, causing Feng Hengkong's body to lightly tremble for an instant. "Hengkong, do you still remember that day when we reunited, the amount of tears you shed while you hugged me? Ah, you cried for so long while hugging me, to the point where my entire back could feel your tears," Xianxia gently said. "Back then, with that much tears, I was really afraid that I wouldn't be able to repay them even after several lifetimes. So, in this lifetime, no matter what happens, I will forever treat you well. Just because of my tears?" Feng Hengkong raised her beautiful eyes. Although her eyes were hazy, a warm, teasing light could still be seen within the depths of her pupils. "Of course, the bigger reason is that you're my Hengkong." Xianxia smiled as he hugged Hengkong even tighter. With just a single arm, he completely wrapped around her soft, slender waist. The depression in his heart that was birthed because of Chu Yuechen quickly dispersed as well. Feng Hengkong lightly moaned from the overly intimate body contact, and her body slightly stiffened from nervousness. However, she did not reject it in the slightest. With a soft voice, she said, "In the past, Lord Phoenix God had once mentioned this to me. If I could find a person who will make me happy when I'm with him, who will make heart beat faster involuntarily, and that person is even willing to disregard his own life for my sake, then he's a person who can accompany me forever. And I have actually met such a person so quickly. Just because I saved you without any regards to my own life," Xianxia said with a melancholic look. Xianxia's words and tone could not help but make Feng Hengkong laugh. And then she tried her best to mimic Xianxia's tone. "Of course, the biggest reason is that you're my big brother Yun." When she spoke these words, Feng Hengkong felt her face heating up. She had no choice but to close her eyes as she buried her forehead deeply into Xianxia's chest. As for the man who was embracing her, he began to laugh out loud complacently. Within the sky poisoned pearl, Jasmine quietly floated in midair. Her long, blood-red hair danced high in the air, and her most beloved smoky red fairy dress fluttered, exposing 2 small white thighs. A layer of black miasma was slowly wreathing the exterior of her dress. This layer of black miasma was emitting out from her body, and after being released, it would quickly disperse away. At this moment, all of the black miasma disappeared, and Jasmine opened her eyes as she descended from the air. Her blood-red long hair stopped fluttering as well, naturally draping over her petite buttocks. She stretched out her hands, looked at her own snow-white palms, and softly muttered to herself, "The strength of the poison is growing weaker, and the speed of purification is increasing with each passing day." From the looks of it, in just another 2 months or so, I should be able to completely purify it before his battle with Fen Juchen. Back then, to completely purify her body from the devilish poison was her biggest wish. She had initially thought that even if she had encountered the sky poison pearl out of immense fortune, it would still require a very long time. Be it several tens of years, or even several hundred of years to her, it would have been a torture which she had no choice but to endure. Presently, not even 7 years had passed, yet the purification of the entire devilish poison was already in sight. The strength possessed by Xianxia, the person she was using to depend her life on, had already reached her requirements as well. Also, because of his extremely powerful bloodlines and profound veins, the outcome had far surpassed her initial expectations. Out of the 35 kilograms of purple vein divine crystals, 25 kilograms were already in her hands. Gathering the remaining 10 kilograms could be said to be an easy feat for Xianxia, who possessed a large number of overlord pellets in his hands. 3 profound beast cores belonging to tyrant profound beasts were completely not a problem as well. After all, Xianxia had directly requested the Black Moon Merchant Guild for 3 tyrant profound beasts profound cores. There were even news of the location of the netherworld Udambara flower, which was hardest to find. Everything was going so much more successful than what she had predicted. It was even several times better compared to the best situation she had imagined in the past. She should have felt ecstatic about this. But as the devilish poison in her body weakened, to the point where she could use her own strength to slowly purify the remaining devilish poison without relying on the sky poison pearl, rather than joy, what she felt most was an inexplicable sense of loss. Jasmine placed down her small hands. Like usual, she habitually looked outside at Xianxia's situation, and then the first thing she saw was Xianxia and Feng Hengkong hugging deeply and affectionately, and every word they spoke could seemingly send chills on her entire body for more than half a day. Yet another one has fallen into the devil's palms. Jasmine snorted as she spoke with slight anger. Are all women in the profound sky continent a bunch of incurable idiots? Ow! Honger was startled awake by Jasmine's uncontrolled voice. She opened her eyes, which were shining with a crimson-red glow, and vaguely said, "Big sis Jasmine, are you angry? Has Master done something wrong again?" "Your master isn't the one I'm angry about, it's those idiotic women," Jasmine said snappily. "Oh," Hunger sat up on the bed, stretching lazily. "Big sis Jasmine, I'm hungry, I want to find Master for some food. It's not suitable for you to head out now, you will see something that you shouldn't see. But I'm really hungry." Hunger was very obedient to Jasmine. When Jasmine said that she should not head out, she sat obediently unmoving on the bed, pitifully rubbing her own small belly. Jasmine waved her hand, and a purple sparkling spatial ring was pulled towards her. She took out a purple vein divine crystal from the spatial ring and placed it in Hunger's hands. "Fine, hurry and eat." "Wah, big sis Jasmine is still the best after all." Hunger's eyes sparkled. Hugging onto the purple vein divine crystal, she took a huge bite. As her big mouth chewed, her face was filled with delight. In order to prevent Hunger from eating behind his back, Xianxia placed all of his crystals and stones into a spatial ring, before placing it back into the sky poison pearl. However, if he had inspected regularly, he would have realized that out of the 25 kilograms of purple vein divine crystals that should have been in the ring presently, only about 23 kilograms of them were left. This was the reason why Hunger had been so obedient to Jasmine. Jasmine casually flung away the spatial ring and sat on the side of the bed. She silently watched Hunger as she happily ate, and gradually her eyes turned a little hazy. "Kai Zhai," between her lips. She unconsciously leaked out a soft mutter. "Kai Zhai," hearing her voice, Hunger raised her head, her face filled with curiosity. "What's that? It sounds very delicious. Is it something delicious?" Jasmine was startled for a moment. She quickly regained her senses and shook her head. "It's not something edible. She's a little girl like Hunger, and like Hunger, she calls me Big Sis." "Oh." Hearing that it was not food, Hunger's interest greatly fell in an instant. Swallowing down the last piece of purple vein divine crystal, she muttered, "Then she's definitely not as cute as me." "Jasmine, Wiua." After finishing the entire purple vein divine crystal, Hunger's body slightly flashed with a purple light. She let out a satisfied cry and then gently curved down onto the bed. "I'm full now. Time to continue sleeping." "Sleep." Jasmine stood up from the bed, and she had only taken a single step when she heard Hunger sleeping soundly behind her. Time silently flowed, and the night quietly faded. Both Xianxia and Feng Hengkong did not return to the ice pavilion, but instead, nestled within each other as they watched the snowy scenery for an entire night. And within the sky Poison Pearl, Jasmine was silently watching the world outside for an entire night. He has so many women by his side, he will never feel lonely for all of eternity, Jasmine muttered to herself, and then let out a light snort. Without someone like me who scolds him several times a day, it will definitely be a wish come true for him. Shifting her attention away from Xianxia, Jasmine's expression recovered its coldness. Closing her eyes, she slowly guided the sky Poison Pearl's energy, and once again entered the purification state. Divine Phoenix Nation, Divine Phoenix Sect. Royal Father, are these all true? Deep astonishment surfaced on Feng Hengkong's face. This news was personally told by Sun Moon Divine Hall's 9th Elder Yi Haiying himself. Furthermore, among the 4 Sun Moon Elders brought by Yi Xinghen that day, he was one of them, so it's definitely not just a mere rumor. That day, if not for Yi Haiying's quick wits, Yishi might not have been the only person to die back then. Feng Tianwei's voice was calm, but his brows were heavily sunken the entire time. Right now, this matter is no longer a secret in the 4 great sacred grounds. Yi Haiying only disclosed this matter to me because of the long years of relationship we have, advising me to never aggravate Xianxia's resentment ever again. No wonder Xianxia actually dared to intrude our Divine Phoenix sect alone, and had never felt fear from the beginning to end. It's also no wonder that, given Yi Xinghen's sinister personality, he still had yet to lay his hands on Xianxia after knowing that he was still alive. So a figure that could cover the sky with a single hand was actually behind Xianxia's back. Feng Hengkong had difficulty quelling his astonishment. Old Man Duotian, I once heard of this name from our ancestors when I was young. Presently under the heavens, those who know of this name should only be the 4 great sacred grounds and our Divine Phoenix sect, which both have the capabilities to pass down memories. He reigned supreme under the heavens 10,000 years ago, and is presently reigning supreme across ancient and modern times. He was the first and only human to reach half-step into the divine profound realm in the history of profound sky continent, standing at the same level as our ancestral Phoenix god, and that was 10,000 years ago. I never would have that he would actually still be alive. Upon reaching that level, to be able to possess a lifespan of 10,000 years should be expected. No, if we're talking about the level that Old Man Duotian is currently standing at, he might have already broken through the half-step divine profound realm and stepped entirely into the divine profound realm, achieving the legendary supreme profound god. Feng Tianwei said grimly, his voice carrying a mixture of astonishment, respect, and awe. It's also no wonder Xianxia was able to throw the face of our Phoenix Divine sect into the dirt, with merely the profound strength of the Emperor Profound Realm. In this period of time, no matter how much I tried, I couldn't think of which famed figure in the profound sky continent could have taught Xianxia, a monster who defies all common sense, to think it was actually such a godlike figure. A ball of flames the size of a finger burnt a mid-stage monarch into nothingness. Feng Hengkong could not help but take in a cold breath, unable to imagine such a shocking scene in his mind. If Feng Tianwei had not personally told him this, even if the news came from the 4 great sacred grounds, he definitely would not have believed it. Looking at it now, our current situation can already be considered a decent outcome. About the matter of exacting revenge for Lure and the rest, never ever think about it again. Feng Tianwei said with a sigh, Royal Father, Royal Father. Amidst his loud cries, Feng Ziming stumbled into the place. He did not have time for greetings as he immediately charged right towards Feng Hengkong, his face contorted in confusion, a look which he had never had before. Royal Father, this son has heard that in the meeting of elders you announced a marriage between Zuer and Xianxia. What's going on? This definitely can't be true. This is true. Feng Hengkong frowned deeply as he said with a cold look. Wah, what? Feng Ziming, who was at a loss to begin with, shook uncontrollably upon receiving Feng Hengkong's personal confirmation. His entire body convulsed as though he heard a clap of thunder. Suddenly he roared hysterically, Royal Father, have you gone mad? Xianxia is our greatest enemy. He killed 4 of my royal brothers, 4 of Royal Father's sons, even several elders, 2 grand elders, and 1,000 Phoenix disciples. He destroyed the Phoenix god sculpture, and even now, Phoenix City is still filled with debris. He's the mortal enemy of our entire clan, someone we can never reconcile with. How could you possibly have Zuer marry him? At this moment, he finally saw that Feng Tianwei was standing by his side. Hurriedly, he ran over with unstable footsteps. Grandfather, Royal Father has gone mad. He actually wants to have Zuer marry that devil Xianxia. Grandfather, hurry and stop him. Enough! Feng Hengkong turned around and shouted. Regarding the circumstances for this issue, we will tell you in a few days. We are currently discussing some important matters with your grandfather. Leave immediately. Feng Tianwei threw a glance at Feng Ziming and waved his hand. I have already finished saying what I wanted to say. Hengkong, in the days to come, make proper preparations for the Devil's Sword Conference. In the Devil's Sword Conference, not only will all of the core figures of the 4 great sacred grounds personally make their appearances, they will have also invited all of the powers in the entire profound sky continent, which possess experts at the level of Tyrant Profound Realm. This is a grand, unprecedented occasion, and this gimmick is rather appalling. When the time comes, I will personally head over there with the rest of you. Minger shall tag along as well. Royal Father, you want to head there with us? Feng Hengkong said, pleasantly surprised. Secret of the Divine Profound. Just from these 5 words alone, even if all of the profound practitioners in the world are a 99% certain that it's mere fiction, no one would possibly resist. Even if they gain nothing in return, being able to see the 4 lords of the 4 great sacred grounds personally make an appearance and witness the gathering of all the warlords in the world, the trip would still be worth it. Once he finished speaking, Feng Tianwei disappeared from sight with a flick of his long sleeves and a flash of flaming light. Leave then? Feng Hengkong gave Feng Ziming a sidelong glance. You heard your grandfather's words earlier. In these coming months, we must rebuild Phoenix City and fully prepare for the Devil's Sword Conference at the same time. As for Zuer's marriage, there are early preparations we must also make. Royal Father, Feng Ziming knelt in front of Feng Hengkong with a loud thump, his face filled with desperation. Feng Tianwei's attitude clearly showed that he did not object to the marriage, which made him teeter on the edge of despair. This son is begging you, you must revoke your order. This son simply cannot fathom why Royal Father would do something like this. That's Zuer, Royal Father's most beloved daughter and our divine Phoenix sect's future Phoenix god. Feng Hengkong's brows sank, but he was not furious. Instead, he slowly said, when we made this decision, we had naturally thought through it well. Furthermore, we currently have one more important reason to do so. Ziming, do you know why Xianxia's actual strength was so astonishing even though he's so young and merely possesses the profound strength of the Emperor Profound Realm? Do you know why his flames surpass our Phoenix flames so greatly? Do you know how he was able to return alive from the primordial Profound Arc? You know that he had angered Yi Xinghen that year. Yet why hasn't Yi Xinghen gone to deal with him this entire time? We have only found out today that Xianxia has an unprecedented, almighty master who is capable of tearing open dimensional rifts. When Xianxia was trapped in the primordial Profound Arc that year, his master tore through space and brought him back from the primordial Profound Arc. It wasn't that Yi Xinghen did not want look for him. Far from it. On the very first day of Xianxia's return, Yi Xinghen brought a total of 4 Sun-Moon Elders, 15 Protectorates, and did not hesitate to commandeer the Sun-Moon Divine Arc to kill Xianxia. Yet in the end, they forced Xianxia's master to act. Feng Hengkong raised his index finger. His master used just a tiny spark of flames the size of his finger to burn a Sun-Moon Elder to nothingness in just a few breaths of time. Forget about a corpse. Not even a strand of hair was left behind. If not for the fact that Xianxia's master had long since distanced himself from worldly affairs and was unwilling to rashly commit murder, and that the 9th Elder, who headed there as well, had desperately swore to never offend Xianxia ever again. Not a single one of the Sun-Moon Divine Hall members who went there shouldn't even think about returning to Sun-Moon Divine Hall alive. Feng Ziming was completely dumbstruck, as if he was listening to a heavenly tome being read. The strength of Xianxia's master might even surpass the ancestral Phoenix gods to a level that we are unable to comprehend. Presently, even the 4 great sacred grounds do not dare to offend Xianxia at all. Although our divine Phoenix sect encountered a crisis because of Xianxia, thinking about it now, we must instead feel fortunate. If the one who was forced into a desperate position was Xianxia and his master was forced out, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Xianxia's potential is immeasurable. His body possesses the Phoenix bloodline, he sincerely treats Zuer well and is willing to protect her with his own life. Adding to that, he has such a powerful backer behind him. Feng Hengkong closed his eyes. Although we hate him to the bone, when it comes to Zuer's marriage, there is definitely no one else more suitable than him. If she can marry him, Not only can it soothe the resentment between our Divine Phoenix sect and their Blue Wind Nation, our Divine Phoenix sect will also garner massive support. Even if the truth of our ancestral Phoenix gods' passing is made known to the world before Zuer's power is completely awakened, the four great sacred grounds will definitely think twice before touching even a strand of our hair. Feng Ziming's face was green one moment and white the next. His lips trembled the entire time. Not only did Feng Hengkong's patient explanation of the circumstances not calm him down, the aura he emitted from his body had instead become even more chaotic. He roared out loud, "So what? This Zuer we're talking about, to Royal Father this son, she is the most important person in the world. How could you possibly use her like this? What do you mean by use her?" Hearing Feng Ziming's words, the flames of fury which Feng Hengkong had been suppressing with all his might were now on the verge of exploding. This is Zuer's own will and desire. If Zuer was unwilling, even if we had to sacrifice our life, we would never agree to it. Whether she was helplessly forced or entirely willing to do so, could it be that you really aren't certain of it in the bottom of your heart? Feng Ziming's expression paled once more. He knelt limply on the ground as if overcome with despair. He sounded as if he were in pain as he implored, "Royal Father, no matter what, you must not have Zuer marry Xianxia. You dote upon Zuer so much, you must be reluctant to let her go, right? Zuer, she is our future Phoenix god after all. She belongs to our Divine Phoenix sect, so she shouldn't marry to an outsider." "Shut your mouth!" Feng Hengkong yelled furiously. "Zuer is the successor of our ancestral Phoenix god. She carries the mission of protecting our entire sect in the future, but that doesn't mean she must forever belong to our Divine Phoenix sect, nor does she belong to anyone else. She can only belong to her own self. In another half year, she will be 20 years old and will be able to make her own decisions. Even we only have the right to guide her on her path, but never will we have the qualifications to forcefully intervene or make decisions in her stead. Only this way can truly be good for her. As for you," Feng Hengkong's expression turned incomparably dark. "The lingering filthy thoughts you have for Zuer, we have never been willing to expose them, but do you really think we weren't aware of it? Royal Father." Feng Hengkong reached out his hands to grab onto Feng Hengkong's ankle and pleaded with a trembling voice. "This son really cannot lose Zuer. When this son thinks of Zuer marrying to someone else, this son experiences feelings even more unbearable than death itself. This son begs Royal Father to revoke your order. This son will definitely use everything he has to protect Zuer, and your child is able to give Zuer everything that she wants. This son can lose the title of Crown Prince and lose the Emperor's seat. This son can abandon everything as long as—" "Unfilial son!" Feng Hengkong went into a rage. Sending out one of his legs, despite Feng Ziming's screams, he kicked his son out of the main hall. Under his fury, this kick of his was extremely heavy, and a long trail of blood was splattered from the entrance of the main hall to the outside. "Forget about you being her royal brother. Even if you two aren't siblings, you will never be worthy of Zuer, and Zuer will never bat a single eye at you. Leave, shut yourself in the Phoenix Heart Hall, and reflect for 100 days. If you dare spout such presumptuous words ever again, we shall personally cripple you." Feng Hengkong's body trembled with anger. As his father, how could he not clearly see through Feng Ziming's thoughts? While Feng Zuer's charm was indeed hard for regular people to resist, although Feng Hengkong was acutely aware of it, he had never felt that it was beyond tolerance. Yet he never expected that the thoughts Feng Ziming had for Feng Zuer were this intense. They had gotten to the point where Feng Ziming had dared to spout such outrageous and heretical statements. Outside the main hall, Feng Ziming supported himself on the ground with a single hand, continuously coughing out several large mouthfuls of fresh blood. He gasped for air as he stood up without uttering a word, stumbling away shortly after. In the depths of his eyes, a terrifying glimmer of resentment shone. "I can abandon everything, but I can't not have Zuer. She can forever remain out of my reach, but no one else is allowed to have her either. Feng Hengkong, you forced me to do this. All of you have forced me to do this." Unknowingly, Xianxia had already stayed in frozen Cloud Asgard for over a month. In this period of time, he was busy every single day. Following after Murong Kaiangsu using the Overlord pellets, he aided Jun Lianqi, Mu Lani, Chu Yuili, Feng Hanyu, and Feng Hengsu in breaking through the Tyrant Profound Realm, and there wasn't a single mistake or accident throughout the entire process. With this kind of method that did not require them to exert any effort, in merely a single day, they reached a level which they had once never dared hope to achieve in their entire lives. Even after more than a month had passed, this dreamlike surprise had still yet to dissipate. In this period of time, all of them had been focused on quietly cultivating every day, stabilizing their profound strength with the assistance of the ice-toad jade that Xianxia refined. After the frozen cloud 7 fairies, Xianxia began to raise the profound strength of the other frozen cloud disciples. Similarly, he made use of the overlord pellets, executing the same exact method and process as well. One difference was that the profound level of every frozen cloud disciple was different, and naturally, the amount of medicinal energy from the overlord pellets each of them could endure was different as well. The time spent on each of them was also different. Mu Lingsu, the strongest among them, had endured 2 overlord pellets, causing her profound strength to surge toward the Emperor Profound Realm in just 2 hours. In the following days, this made her feel like everything was like a dream. As for those young, newly admitted disciples, even half a pellet was hard for them to bear. Hence, to raise the profound strength of regular frozen cloud disciples, the amount of time used was far shorter in comparison to the frozen cloud 7 fairies. However, the difficulty was not the least bit lower. Throughout the entire process, Xianxia similarly had to be in a state of complete concentration, along with his profound energy being fully released. Because the lower the profound strength, the weaker the physique one had. As such, he had to be even more careful in preventing any accidents from occurring. In about a month, he had already aided about 300 frozen cloud girls in their profound strength breakthrough, without even committing a single failure. When looking at this newly appointed Asgard Master, not to mention their first male Asgard Master in history, the eyes of all frozen cloud girls no longer carried the least bit rejection and peculiarity. Instead, they were filled with admiration, as though they were looking at a divine being. It was presently noon, yet Xianxia, however, was not raising the frozen cloud disciples' profound strength. Instead, he was sitting cross-legged by himself in the ice pavilion, slowly guiding the flow of profound energy inside his body. Just this morning, when he had completed raising the profound strength of Shui Wuxuang, the profound energy in his entire body was suddenly thrown into great disorder. His vision instantly blackened, and his head plummeted onto the ground as his expression turned frighteningly pale. Shui Wuxuang was so shocked. She did not even have the time to wear her snow robe as she hurriedly lifted him up after a good while. She finally realized that Xianxia's profound strength had suddenly broken through a bottleneck. From the 3rd level of Emperor Profound Realm to the 4th level of Emperor Profound Realm, Xianxia possessed the great way of the Buddha, so even if he did not cultivate, his body would still automatically absorb the world's elements. Even in his sleep, his power and physique would continue to rise, bringing about the rise in profound strength at the same time. The 2 biggest leaps in his physique and profound strength were when he was in the primordial profound arc, and when he was at Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley. The ice elements in frozen cloud Asgard were exceptionally lively, though they could not be compared to the dimensional storms in the primordial profound arc or the Sea of Death in Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley. His speed of absorbing the world's elements was still faster than other aspects by a small degree. After resting for about 2 hours, the profound energy in Xianxia's body had long completely calmed down, and his profound strength had officially stepped into the 4th level of the Emperor Profound Realm. Raising the profound strength of the frozen cloud disciples was also an exceptionally strong degree of refinement for his profound energy. If no accidents were to occur before his battle with Fen Juchen, his profound strength should be able to break through the 5th level of the Emperor Profound Realm. If he could obtain Feng Zuer's Phoenix Vital Yin, at this moment Xianxia's eyes slowly opened, and outside the ice pavilion, Feng Zuer's gentle voice sounded. "Big brother Yun, can I come in?" "Zuer, hurry and come in," Xianxia immediately said. The ice door was lightly pushed open, and Feng Zuer walked in with gentle steps. At that instant, Xianxia's eyes fiercely shone. His line of sight was firmly fixated on Feng Zuer, and for a long while he was in a state of rapture. The clothes Feng Zuer wore were usually either gold or fiery red in color, but this time, she was wearing the pure, snow-white robe of frozen cloud Asgard. "Big brother Yun, do I look beautiful?" She stood in front of Xianxia and displayed the look she had while wearing the frozen cloud snow robe. What she received in return was Xianxia's already dazed gaze. Clothed in snow white, the long dress stretched to the ground, and a pair of exquisite snow phoenix shoes could be faintly seen. Wrapped around her waist was a snow-white silk band, perfectly outlining her thin, slender waist. also allowing her pair of breasts to form an incomparably stunning, voluptuous curves. When it came to the snow robes in frozen Cloud Asgard, the regular disciples wore a different set from the frozen Cloud 7 fairies, and what Feng Hengkong was wearing belonged to the snow robes of the frozen Cloud 7 fairies. Xianxia was especially familiar with it, but what he was stunned about was not the snow robe. Instead, it was the young girl wearing it. Feng Hengkong's skin was extremely white, like the purest of ice and snow, a lustrous white that was similar to the most flawless of white tallow jades. Even under the contrast of the pure white snow robe, even within the ice pavilion where no bright light was present, her skin was still dazzlingly lustrous white. Her face, as though it was carved with ice and snow, was adorned with thin, long crescent brows and a pair of clear, deep eyes. Her fragrant cheeks were whiter than snow. Her dimples were as beautiful as that of a poem or drawing, and the lipsticks worn on her pair of tender lips were as though they were drawn with the blood and soul of the heavens, beautiful to the point of stirring one's heart. My Zuer, naturally, no matter what you wear, you're the most beautiful in the world. Xianxia looked at her dazedly as he sincerely praised. Feng Hengkong spread out her arms as her smile bloomed. This was gifted to me by Junior Master Han Yu. It's very fitting without the slightest bit of discomfort. And it's very light and cool as well. Ah! Amidst Feng Hengkong's tender moan, Xianxia had already grasped her waist as he pulled her over to sit on his lap. Xianxia gently embraced her jade body as he spoke with a slightly sly demeanor. Zuer, you're really beautiful to the point where I don't even know what I should do. Feng Hengkong slightly curled up her body in Xianxia's embrace. Her fragrant cheeks were dyed with a faint pink as she timidly said in a gentle voice, "Big brother Yun, you're not going to bully me again, right?" Every time he embraced Feng Hengkong's soft fairy-like body, Xianxia's body would always throb intensely to an uncontrollable extent. He approached Feng Hengkong's face and gently said, "I didn't think about it in the beginning, but with Zuer's reminder." The moment his voice fell, Xianxia had already hugged Feng Hengkong tightly and sealed her supple lips. Then he reveled in seizing the fragrance and sweetness from her mouth. "NNG," Feng Hengkong cried out. The young girl's shyness and timidness instantly turned into a red afterglow on her snow-white face. It was already not her first time to have her lips tasted by Xianxia. After her first kiss was snatched away half a month ago, Xianxia began wanting a mile after taking an inch, as he had to kiss her gently, tyrannically, shamelessly, or even when she was caught off guard several times a day. Every time, she could only shyly yield to him, because in the depths of her heart, she was already someone who was betrothed to Xianxia by her royal father. Her tender little hands powerlessly pushed Xianxia's shoulders as she lightly panted. Her pair of half-opened eyes were blurred like a fog. If the citizens of Divine Phoenix Empire were to see their Princess Snow, whom they regard as a goddess, was actually being bullied in such a way by a man, it might lead to a riot of the entire empire. While Feng Hengkong's consciousness was blurry, she did not sense that her snow dress had already been silently lifted to her waist by a big, restless hand, revealing a pair of jade-like snow-white thighs. The silk band on her waist had already been removed as well, and with her snow robe pulled down, her finely crafted snow-skinned, fragrant shoulders, which were as smooth as oil with a lustrous pink gloss, were revealed, as though the sun was shining upon the frost and snow during winter. Xianxia's eyes were entranced, and he was simply unable to hold back the intense throbbing within his body. His hands were seemingly raised up uncontrollably, and they were placed on Zuer's exposed collarbone without the least bit of obstruction. His hands and her skin made contact, causing Feng Hengkong's beautiful eyes to instantly widen. Like a startled rabbit, she leapt out of Xianxia's embrace, panting while the light in her eyes were in disarray. I'm going to return the snow robe to Junior Master Han Yu." Feng Hengkong's face and ears were crimson red. She tidied up her snow robe, which was pulled apart without her knowing in a fluster, as she ran off in a fleeing manner. "Ha!" Xianxia was a bit dejected as he flopped onto the ice bed. "You actually have yet to succeed. Aren't you afraid of losing terribly under Fen Juchen's hands?" Jasmine coldly said. "There isn't the slightest bit of rejection towards you in Feng Hengkong's heart and soul. If you're a little bit more forceful, you should have long obtained her Phoenix Vital Yin." "I obviously can't do that." Xianxia shook his head, muttering, "Matters like this must come gradually. Zuer treats me with a pure heart. If I were to do it your way, I might frighten or even hurt her. Furthermore, obtaining her Phoenix Vital Yin in order to exchange blows with Fen Juchen would make me feel as though I'm hurting, and using Zuer for my own benefits. I can't do that. This is a matter of principles. Principles? Jasmine snorted and coldly smiled. When it comes to matters concerning women, you actually have the nerve to talk about principles, HMPH. As expected, your face is even thicker than a city wall. Hey, Jasmine is still the one who is most familiar with the mere few good points that I possess. Yun Qi revealed a cheap smile. But looking at you, you don't seem to be worried about the battle with Fen Juchen. I guess you can say that. After all, that guy, Fen Juchen, has a very big weakness in his personality, Yun Qi calmly said as he closed his eyes. A weakness in his personality? You're referring to... Jai Qianru of Supreme Ocean Palace requests to see Frozen Cloud Asgard Master Yun Qi. At this moment, a light voice, which carried a hint of softness and gentleness in it, sounded from outside. Yun Qi instantly stood up from the ice bed. Jai Qianru? Why would he come here? Could it be that the person who would come to invite him to the Devil Sword Conference, whom Zai Jai had spoken of before, was referring to Jai Qianru? From outside the door, Murong Kaiengsu's voice reverberated. Asgard Master, there's a strange person outside the Asgard gate wanting to see you, claiming that he comes from Supreme Ocean Palace. Yun Qi stood up and walked out of the ice pavilion. Seeing Murong Kaiengsu and Mu Lani were currently standing there with heavy expressions, he hurriedly said, Senior Masters, there's no need to worry, and there's no need to be vigilant either. He is one of my acquaintances, and the reason he's here should be to send me something. Once I pick it up, I will return quickly. Tell Zuer and the rest to not worry as well. After saying that, Yun Qi flew in the air and headed towards the Asgard gate. Someone from Supreme Ocean Palace. Asgard Master, please be careful, Murong Kaiengsu and Mu Lani said in unison. Although Yun Qi had already said there wasn't a need to worry, that person was still someone from the sacred grounds. The moment he left Frozen Cloud Asgard, Yun Qi saw that figure in front of the Asgard gate. Dressed in an extraordinary white robe, his sleeves fluttered amidst the cold winds. He had masculine good looks, and his eyes were like the autumn waters, bearing a charm that was out of this world. This was a man who possessed beauty that could be described as beautiful to the point where even women would be envious of him. Jade-faced demon monarch, Jai Qianru. Yun Qi moved forward and gently cupped his fists. Junior Yun Qi greets Senior Jai. It's been 3 years since we last met, and as expected, Senior Jai's demeanor has grown more than before. Jai Qianru's pair of delicate eyes were like peach blossoms, though they seemed to carry a hint of bitterness. If we're talking about demeanor, when compared to little Chech, I'm quite far behind. After hearing Jai Qianru's voice again after 3 years, Yun Qi's hair still stood on end as goosebumps spread all over his body. The moment Jai Qianru's voice fell, he reached out his right hand, and with a light twist of his scallion-like jade finger, a faint blue petal came out of nowhere. Following the gentle wave of his finger, it lightly floated towards Yun Qi. The faint blue petal looked no different from a regular petal. It slowly approached Yun Qi, as though it was being blown by a gentle breeze. The cold winds here were wild and rampant, yet it did not influence the flight path of the petal. Rather, the cold winds that approached it seemed to have been absorbed into a large, invisible swirl, disappearing without a trace. As the petal approached, Yun Qi's face was still filled with smiles. Directly reaching out his fingers, he casually caught the petal between two of his fingers, and then held it within his hand. When he opened his palm again, the petal had already disappeared without a trace. There wasn't a single sound throughout the entire process, nor was there even the least bit of movement of profound energy. Thank you for your gift, Senior Jai, Yun Qi said with a smile. Ha! Jai Qianru once again let out a light, bitter sigh. As expected, little Chech is the same as the rumors say. It's only been 3 years since we last met, yet you have already thrown me far behind. In the future, I'm afraid I can't even enter little Chech's eyes. At number percent, Yun Qi maintained his smile with all his might, however, his tone was especially sincere. This junior has never dared to forget Senior Jai's saving grace at the primordial profound arc 3 years ago. If there's anything I can repay Senior Jai with, this junior will definitely spare no efforts to do so. The light in Jai Qianru's eyes swirled, flickering with a touch of surprise. Then he gave a delicate smile. Back then, what I did at the primordial profound arc was merely playing a game with little Hanhin, and at the same time, returning a favor of yours. It isn't as exaggerated as you make it out to be, so there's no need to bring up matters of repaying me. Returning things like favors back and forth is just too annoying. This time, I'm here especially under the orders of our Supreme Ocean Palace Great Elder to pass something to little Chech. Is this perhaps concerning the Devil's Sword Conference? Xianxia asked straightforwardly. Ah, as expected, you do know why I've come. Xianxia stepped forward, and with a flip of his right hand, a hexagonal token made of precious jade, which was illuminated with a fantastical blue glow, was tossed towards Xianxia. This is the Devil's Sword Conference's invitation card. 100 days from now, you can use it to enter our Supreme Ocean Palace and participate in the Devil's Sword Conference. Xianxia extended a hand and grabbed the blue-colored precious jade token in his hand. A refreshing and cleansing aura abruptly erupted out from his palm, and his gaze swept across the words that were engraved on the precious jade before putting it away. I thank Senior Jai for personally making a trip here. This junior will definitely visit Supreme Ocean Palace 100 days from now. Besides this, can I ask Senior Jai to clear some confusion I have about the Devil's Sword Conference? What exactly is the purpose of this meeting? And just what does Devil's Sword refer to? Oh. Xianxia looked at Xianxia with an astonished expression as he gently raised a flawless white jade finger. Ah, it looks like little Chech didn't know about this. The Devil's Sword Conference has already been announced in the upper echelons of the profound sky continent's profound world for a good long while. Yet little Chech does not even know what the Devil's Sword is referring to. It looks like little Chech isn't too interested in this Devil's Sword Conference in the first place. I won't hide it from Senior Jai. This junior is indeed not very interested in this Devil's Sword Conference, Xianxia said without the slightest bit of hesitation. However, I can use this Devil's Sword Conference to visit Supreme Ocean Palace that I've been fascinated with for the longest time. Hey. Xianxia let out a gentle laugh which was sweeter and more coquettish than a woman's laugh. Xianxia felt his guts cramp up violently at this sight. If his self-control was not good enough, even his face would have distorted. Xianxia said in a merry fashion, even though this Devil's Sword Conference is very prestigious and has gotten a lot of publicity, but it really doesn't interest me in the least. However, I'm sure little Chech's mysterious master would be far more interested about it. If little Chech's master will condescend to visit Supreme Ocean Palace, it will definitely cause a huge commotion at the Devil's Sword Conference. Xianxia smiled, but did not say anything. Since little Chech asked me about the Devil's Sword Conference, then I must definitely give you a proper answer. But speaking of this Devil's Sword Conference, little Chech, have you ever heard of the Eternal Night Royal Family? Xianxia asked in a soft and supple voice as he narrowed peach blossom eyes that were even more charming than a girl's. The Eternal Night Royal Family. Xianxia was taken aback for a moment before his brows twitched as he asked, could it be that the Devil's Sword of this Devil's Sword Conference refers to the Heavenly Sin Divine Sword? Xianxia had heard the name of the Eternal Night Royal Family the very first day he had arrived in Frozen Cloud Asgard. It was Grand Asgard Mistress Feng Hengkong who had told him about it. And in Feng Hengkong's own words, the Eternal Night Royal Family was originally a sacred ground, and it was one of the 5 great sacred grounds. Furthermore, it was the only sacred ground that was a family. However, 1,000 years ago, it was destroyed through the joint efforts of the other 4 sacred grounds. After that, the other 3 sacred grounds gradually noticed that they had been used by mighty Heavenly Sword region. But in order to maintain the reputation of the sacred grounds, they could only accept their mistake and continue to perpetuate the bad name of the Eternal Night Royal Family, as they swiftly eliminated all traces left behind by the Eternal Night Royal Family. And now, there were extremely few people who even knew the name, Eternal Night Royal Family, besides the 4 great sacred grounds. Extremely few people knew about the grievances and resentments which happened all those years ago. As for the only reason why Frozen Cloud Asgard was cognizant of those events, it was because the Frozen Cloud ancestor had received the help of the Eternal Night Royal Family. And because she was unable to accept the Eternal Night Royal Family's tragic fate, she sealed these memories as part of the legacy of Frozen Cloud Asgard. Even though little Chech didn't know about the Devil's Sword Conference, but he does indeed know about the Eternal Night Royal Family and the Heavenly Sin Divine Sword. But it's to be expected, little Chech has such a powerful master. So how many things in this world would little Chech be unaware of? Outside of the 4 great sacred grounds, there were very few people who knew the name, Eternal Night Royal Family, and there were practically no outsiders who knew about the Heavenly Sin Divine Sword. Yun-Chi slightly shook his head. This junior has only heard of it before, and I know very little about it. I was hoping that Senior Jai could enlighten me regarding a few of these details. Jai Qianru slightly narrowed his eyes before speaking in a casual and relaxed manner. Regarding the Heavenly Sin Divine Sword, even though very few people knew of its name even a millennia ago, but it was a name that everyone who was from a sacred ground knew about. It is the only monarch sword in the entire profound sky continent, the lone monarch of all swords. No one knew of its origin, and the only thing that we knew is that it was a divine sword that the Eternal Night royal family had been guarding for generations. No one knew why it was being protected either. Even within the Eternal Night royal family, there were a scant few people who knew the answers to these secrets. Other than that, from the moment the existence of the Heavenly Sin Divine Sword had been exposed to the world, no one had ever seen it being used before. Perhaps it was too superior a weapon, so no one under this sky could wield it. And 1,000 years ago, when the Eternal Night royal family was destroyed by the combined might of the four great sacred grounds for committing that grave, unforgivable sin, the Heavenly Sin Divine Sword disappeared without a trace, and not a single clue regarding it could be found for a whole 1,000 years. However, mighty Heavenly Sword region recently found a strange sword in some barren wasteland by pure chance, and they confirmed that it was the Heavenly Sin Divine Sword that had been missing for a millennia. Yun-Chi, 3 years ago, Feng Hengkong had told him that the Frozen Cloud ancestor had confirmed that the Eternal Night royal family had been deliberately and maliciously framed of their crimes by mighty Heavenly Sword region, and the entire purpose of that was to get their hands on the Heavenly Sin Divine Sword. Moreover, that same Heavenly Sin Divine Sword just so happened to disappear after the destruction of the Eternal Night royal family. It was extremely likely that it actually fell into the hands of mighty Heavenly Sword region all along. However, when it came to a matter regarding a sacred ground, it would definitely be concealed heavily by the four sacred grounds, with mighty Heavenly Sword region exerting the most effort in this regard. It was actually quite remarkable that the Frozen Cloud ancestor would be able to know about what had happened in such exquisite detail when Yun-Chi thought about it. It completely mystified him. And this Devil Sword Conference is being held because mighty Heavenly Sword region is not willing to monopolize the only monarch-grade weapon in the profound sky continent. So they suggested that all the heroes of the realm gather at Supreme Ocean Palace so that we could explore the secrets of the divine sword together. Ah, so that is how it is. Yun-Chi gave a slight nod of his head before replying with a bland smile. This junior has long ago heard that mighty Heavenly Sword region cultivated the sword as their path, and their obsession with swords exceeded their regard for life, so they would spend their entire lives pursuing an ever stronger sword and pushing the boundaries of the way of the sword. So I would have never thought that mighty Heavenly Sword region, the ones who found the Heavenly Sin Divine Sword by chance, would actually not monopolize the strongest sword in the world. Instead, they announced it to the whole world, to the point where they even invited all of the heroes of the realm to share in their spoils. And to express their sincerity, they actually specially arranged for the location to be at Supreme Ocean Palace instead of mighty Heavenly Sword region. It is truly the sacred land of swords, and this boundless and selfless generosity and fair thinking simply leaves this junior in complete awe. How would Jai Qianru fail to see that Yun-Chi was clearly calling into question the intentions of mighty Heavenly Sword region, and that his words even contained a concealed mockery? His eyes narrowed once more as he let out a laugh. Little Chech, you shouldn't betray the amazing goodwill of our friends from mighty Heavenly Sword region, so I'm definitely expecting to see you there. And if little Chech truly holds no interest in the Devil's Sword Conference, let this one, who also holds no interest in it, bring you on a tour to see all the amazing sights along the ocean. Thank you for your kind intentions, Senior Jai, Yun-Chi said as he smiled. He was indeed rather curious about the Devil's Sword Conference, but he did not really hold much interest in it, especially after Jai Qianru told him about the details regarding the conference. The moment he heard those words, he smelled a rat, so he had a feeling that nothing good would come from participating in this event. Moreover, the real reason for his visit to Supreme Ocean Palace was to obtain the Netherworld Udambara flower. As for the Devil Sword Conference, he had not even decided whether he would make an appearance there at all. After all, the less he associated with the sacred grounds, the better, even though Yi Xinghan still hated him to the bones, because of the existence of the master that he had fabricated out of thin air. and the fact that one elder and many other protectorates had died at frozen Cloud Asgard, Sun Moon Divine Hall would not dare to make a move against him. But the more he interacted with the sacred grounds, the easier it was for chinks to appear in his armor. Once it was discovered that the so-called master did not exist, then there would be a calamitous result awaiting him. Furthermore, the last few words that Zai Jai had said before he had left the Black Moon Merchant Guild caused him to become extremely vigilant. Senior Jai, this junior has a question. Just what kind of powers would have the qualification to participate in the Devil's Sword Conference? Xianxia asked. Every power that has a profound practitioner at the Tyrant Profound Realm has received an invitation, Jai Qianru casually said, and most of these powers would come from the Divine Phoenix Nation, because the other 6 countries had very few of them. So that is to say that the Divine Phoenix sect will also be participating, Xianxia muttered rather softly. Hehe, naturally, they are as well, Jai Qianru replied as he let out a feminine laugh. Right now, the entire world knows that the Divine Phoenix sect has delivered Princess Snow into Little Chech's hands in order to appease his wrath. So if Little Chech wants to bring Princess Snow along with him when the time comes, that would simply be delightful. And just based on the invitation that you have received from this one, you can bring along 99 other people as well. Oh, right. There is also someone else who has received a special invitation. Jai Qianru looked at Xianxia's face as he said this. That person also comes from the Blue W Ind Nation, and you should be very familiar with his name indeed. Fen Juchen. Him, Xianxia's brows jumped up fiercely. Why are you inviting him? Because he is even more powerful than the current Little Chech, Jai Qianru said as a strange light shone in his eyes. And from the moment he appeared, the 4 sacred grounds have always had a very great deal of interest in him, almost as much as they have for Little Chech. A little weakling who was only at the Spirit Profound Realm disappears for 2 years and reappears possessing the power of a monarch. He is a monster who is even scarier than Little Chech himself. This one is also extremely interested in him. Moreover, he accepted the invitation. So Little Chech, you had better be on your guard when the time comes, because anyone who has investigated Fen Juchen knows that the one thing he desires the most is to kill you. Senior Jai, thank you for your warning, Xianxia said with a bland laugh, but suspicion surged and welled in his heart. The 4 great sacred grounds being interested in Fen Juchen was completely unexpected. But given Fen Juchen's temperament, why would he be willing to participate in this strange Devil Sword Conference? All right, this one's mission is done, so it is about time for me to return. 100 days from now, you must definitely remember to come. After saying this, Jai Qianru's arm swished as he turned around to leave. Xianxia called out to him. This should be the first time that Senior Jai has ever visited frozen Cloud Asgard, so at least let this junior show you some courtesy before you leave. There's no need for that. I heard that frozen Cloud Asgard is filled with women, and I happen to hate things like women the most. This one has no interest in it whatsoever. Being able to see Little Chech again has already left me completely satisfied. With a wave of his hand, the flower petals that filled the sky floated downwards and carried Jai Qianru far away. He very quickly disappeared amidst the shining snow. Xianxia did not immediately return to frozen Cloud Asgard once Jai Qianru left. Instead, he stood there, completely lost in thought. Devil Sword Conference, Eternal Night Royal Family, Heavenly Sin Divine Sword Mighty Heavenly Sword Region. What are you thinking about? Jasmine asked. Xianxia's brows arched as he let out a deep sigh. It's very clear that Feng Qianhui's tale was indeed accurate. The Heavenly Sin Divine Sword, which disappeared for 1,000 years, had indeed always been in the possession of Mighty Heavenly Sword Region. This is because there is no way Mighty Heavenly Sword Region would be willing to reveal the existence of the Heavenly Sin Divine Sword if they had just acquired it. And now that they have taken the initiative to reveal the existence of the Heavenly Sin Divine Sword and arrange this Devil Sword Conference, it is extremely likely that Mighty Heavenly Sword Region was unable to find a way to control the Heavenly Sin Divine Sword in the past 1,000 years. These 1,000 years have completely worn their patience, so they decided to invite all of the strongest individuals under heaven to explore its secrets together. There is another possible reason as well, Jasmine said blandly, and that is that Mighty Heavenly Sword Region has indeed found a way to unlock the secrets of the Heavenly Sin Divine Sword. But they are unable to do so using their own power, so they are using the Devil Sword Conference to gather as much power as possible. There's also this possibility. The deaths of his grandfather, Yun Kanghai, and the Demon Emperor, the tragedy of the Xiao family, the revenge of his parents, the resentment of the little Demon Empress. All of this was intimately related to mighty Heavenly Sword region. And the destruction of the Eternal Night royal family was also due to the selfish schemes of mighty Heavenly Sword region. Yun Qi exhaled heavily before speaking in a low voice. I originally thought that there would be nothing to be worried about since this Devil Sword Conference was being held at Supreme Ocean Palace. But since it actually originates from mighty Heavenly Sword region, then I'll have to be cautious. As of this moment, Yun Qi had only ever come into contact with one person from mighty Heavenly Sword region, Ling Kun. From his knowledge and experience, the only impressions that he got from mighty Heavenly Sword region was that of danger, evil, ambition, and despicable ruthlessness. HMPH, you'll know once the time comes. And as for any possible evil scheme or danger, Jasmine said with a voice filled with disdain, you do not need to be too worried about it, because at that time the devilish poison in my soul will be completely cleansed away. And let's not even talk about a mere mighty Heavenly Sword region, even if all of the so-called 4 great sacred grounds banded together. I would only need to lift my finger to slaughter the lot of them. Yun Qi, and if I want you to die, it will be exactly the same, Jasmine very deliberately said right after. Demon Imperial City, illusory demon realm. 3 months had already passed since Yun Qi brought Xiao Yun and the Under Heaven siblings away from the illusory demon realm. In the period of 3 months, the bloodshed in Demon Imperial City gradually stopped, and an unseen peace that had never been seen before in 100 years began to appear. The little demon empress had also become the absolute supreme existence in the entire illusory demon realm. No one dared to go against her, and no one could go against her. The last heretical disciples have already been found at the south of the city and were executed. The 19 heretical disciples placed here by the profound sky continent have all been removed. Out of the 19, 11 of them came from Supreme Ocean Palace, one of the sacred grounds, and the other 8 came from mighty Heavenly Sword region. Within the Great Hall, Mu Yubai kneeled on one knee and respectfully reported to the little demon empress. The reason why they knew it was 19 was through the Yun family's profound handle soul search. After finding the first one, they were able to know their exact number, their purpose, the approximate location of the others, how they arrived, as well as what they did. The little demon empress wore a pure golden dress with purple crystals decorating her hair. There was a glowing red ribbon tied around her waist, and her entire body released an air of luxury and solemnity. Her snow-white face was beyond beautiful despite not having any makeup on. Her lips were like cherry petals, and her eyes were like the cold stars. Although the former silence and power weren't there anymore, her eyes were still cold. No one would doubt that if these pretty eyes could smile, it would be able to charm anything, and perhaps captivate the entire world. However, the softness of her beautiful eyes would only blossom for Yun Qi. Directly executed. This is the last heretical disciple. Was the profound handle soul search performed? The little demon empress asked. Her cold eyes seemed to have caught onto the abnormality in Mu Yubai's eyes. In reply to the little demon empress, before he was executed, the profound handle soul search has been conducted. Mu Yubai momentarily paused, revealing worry on his face. From what he said, we acquired bad news. Speak. The little demon empress's beautiful face, which could not be described with words, was full of coldness and stunning solemnity, lacking any sort of expression. Mu Yubai cautiously said, these heretical disciples from the profound sky continent carried an extremely special kind of sound transmission stone. Sealed within it was an extremely powerful sound transmission profound formation, which allowed them to directly transmit sound from our illusory demon realm to the profound sky continent. This sort of sound transmission stone is extremely rare and valuable, and it would use up all the profound energy in one go. When we executed the 11 people from Supreme Ocean Palace, according to the profound handle soul search, in total, they brought 7 of this kind of special sound transmission stones and consumed them all in a year and 3 months prior. The last message they sent to the profound sky continent was before the Demon Empress ceremony had begun. You have said this several months before. Why are you mentioning it once again? Were the sound transmission stones from mighty Heavenly Sword region not used up? The little demon empresses frowned slightly. Yes. Mu Yubai nodded. His tense eyebrows did not relax. The 8 people from mighty Heavenly Sword region only brought 3 sound transmission stones, but after 100 years, they only used 2. As for the last one, it was used 3 months ago. What? The little demon empress's expression immediately turned sullen. She clearly knew what this meant. Furthermore, it was unfortunate that, in the final sound transmission, that person emphasized on things about Yun Qi. It was extremely thorough, including his identity as a son of the Yun family, that he came from the profound Sky Continent, brought back the Demon Emperor's remains from Blue Wind Nation, stopped Duke Hua's revolution, received the Golden Crow's legacy, and married the little Demon Empress. It was all transmitted back to the profound Sky Continent. These things weren't some kind of secret in the illusory demon realm. In fact, it could be said that everyone knew about it. Within the illusory demon realm, everyone knew the little demon empress like everyone knew about the first demon emperor in the illusory demon realm's history. The little demon empress's cold gaze became even more icy and penetrating, causing Mu Yubai's body to freeze as he found it hard to breath. After quite a while, he finally managed to breath as he continued. This means that mighty Heavenly Sword region must have already deduced Chair's identity. He is in danger in the profound Sky Continent. Although Chair is extremely talented and breaks through the higher realms at a godly speed, it would still be impossible for him to be an opponent for the sacred grounds. The little demon empress knew about the existence of the primordial profound arc on Yun Qi. By using it, no matter how big the danger he found himself in, he could immediately leave, so he should not meet any fatal danger. However, it was impossible for her to relax completely. Her royal father had found his demise in the hands of mighty Heavenly Sword region. The deaths of Yun Canghai and the Yun family's ancestors were also caused by mighty Heavenly Sword region's Heaven's Might Soul suppressing formation. A single mighty Heavenly Sword region was already so terrifying. Once Yun Qi's identity was exposed on the profound Sky Continent, what he had to face was not merely a mighty Heavenly Sword region. As for the results, it would pretty much be the entire profound Sky Continent as his enemy. Did that heretical disciple mention the mirror of samsara when he was transmitting sound? The little demon empress asked in a low voice. He also said that? Only now did Mu Yubai notice that he missed a crucial point. His expression changed once more as he said while clenching his teeth. The day of the little demon empress's marriage. She had once declared to use the demon emperor's most treasured mirror of samsara as the betrothal gift. He managed to completely transmit this sentence over. Drats. This is indeed an extremely bad news. The little demon empress turned her head around in order to prevent Mu Yubai from seeing the worry in her cold eyes. On the demon empress ceremony, everyone found out that the long-lost mirror of samsara was with Yun Qi. But after he returned the demon emperor's seal, he did not mention about returning the mirror of samsara. The little demon empress had mentioned it thrice, yet he still refused to give it back. In the end, she just announced that she would use the mirror of samsara as a betrothal gift. After all, Yun Qi, who married her, would also count as one of the demon emperor clan. Although the mirror of samsara was the treasure guarded by every generation of the demon emperor clan, no one ever knew the use of it, nor how to use it. However, the profound Sky Continent would go crazy for the mirror of samsara. Back then, the disaster of the illusory demons caused by Duke Ming's ploy was due to the mirror of samsara. It all started with the mirror of samsara. After mighty Heavenly Sword region discovered the possibility that the mirror of samsara was with Yun Qi, they might not expose Yun Qi's identity in public. They would find a chance to take the mirror of samsara for themselves. However, this did not allow the little demon empress to relax at all, because she was thinking of something even more terrifying. Mighty Heavenly Sword region was knowledgeable about Yun Qi's identity. Yet, Yun Qi did not know that mighty Heavenly Sword region knew his identity. How long will it take before the Yun family's space-splitting ring can recover its power? The little demon empress suddenly turned around and asked with an ice-cold voice. The entire Yun family is also worried about Yun Qi's safety, so they did not spare to use all of the purple vein divine crystals that they got before in order for the space-splitting ring to recover its power. Even so, for it to fully recover, it would take 3 months at the least, and 6 months at the longest. The space-splitting ring was the secret weapon that the Yun Qinghang couple used to sneak onto the profound Sky Continent. 3 months, clearly the little demon empress was very dissatisfied with this time. Her eyes flashed, then she suddenly said, "How goes the search for Duke Ming's trace? It's a shame, but we have not made any progress in this month. We will definitely." This Empress will give you 3 more months. The little demon Empress coldly interrupted Mu Yubai's speech. Within 3 months, you must find where Duke Ming is hiding. However, do not attack so hastily like the last few times. You must first report it to this Empress as soon as possible. Although Duke Ming is heavily injured, he still cannot be handled by normal people. You just need to find out where he is hiding. This Empress will personally take his life. From the jade strips recording the fallen flame devil arts, the little demon Empress found underneath Duke Hue Palace. She had already understood the blood escape technique that Duke Ming used to escape back, then once Duke Ming fell into her hands. Even if he disregarded the cost of using blood escape, he would not be able to escape. If you still fail to find Duke Ming's location within these 3 months, then each of you shall break off a finger as punishment. Mu Yubai's body shuddered as he said in a panic. Yubai has been incapable, little demon Empress. Please do not get angry. Within 3 months, Yubai will definitely not disappoint the little demon Empress once again. Go, get Yun Qinghang to meet this Empress quickly. The little demon Empress turned around with her back facing Mu Yubai. A heavy atmosphere that was beyond pressurizing filled the entire hall, causing Mu Yubai to not even dare to breathe. Understood. Mu Yubai directly walked out of the hall, and only then did he take a deep breath. He used his palm to touch his forehead, only to realize that it was covered by cold sweat. Phew, you're still my niece-in-law, you know, Mu Yubai muttered, feeling aggrieved, then left carefully with light steps. At the same time, on the profound sky continent, within the frozen cloud divine hall, it was already bright in the early morning. Before this time, Yun Qi was already using the Overlord pellet to help the frozen cloud girls to raise their profound energy level. At this moment, Yun Qi was still lying on the ice bed where Chu Yuechen had slept on for several years. His eyes were still closed, as if he was still in deep sleep. At this moment, there was suddenly a red flash beside him. A petite young girl with red hair and red cloths appeared. Her face was cold and her eyes shone with a strange light. Yun Qi opened his eyes and sat up. Jasmine, why did you come out? Today is the day of your promised battle with Fen Juchen. You can't have forgotten it, right? Jasmine raised her thin eyebrow and spoke in an indifferent tone. Of course I didn't. That's why I'm still resting my strength, Yun Qi said with a carefree expression. It looks like you're not worried at all. I already reminded you that his profound energy must have immensely increased from 3 months ago. HMPH. Never mind before that. There's a good news. Do you want to hear it? Good news? Just as Yun Qi was about to ask, he suddenly noticed that the purifying aura of the sky poison pearl was no longer in Jasmine's body. He instantly moved forward and said in surprise, "Could it be that all of the devilish poison on your body has been purified?" "That's right, all of it." Jasmine turned her face, but Yun Qi had still seen the way the corner of her lips moved upwards. However, she was not smiling coldly this time. It was very faint, yet it was a true faint smile. If he carefully calculated it, from him and Jasmine's meeting till now, 6 years and 10 months had already passed. Yet this was his first time seeing Jasmine's true smile, even though it was very slight and very temporary. "That's great!" Yun Qi let out a quiet cheer. His joy was from his lungs, from his soul. Not because she would be able to provide him with great help after getting rid of the nightmare of the devilish poison, but it was merely because she had escaped from the nightmare of the devilish poison. As expected of the sky poison pearl, even this type of devilish poison that had the name of God slaying was completely purified. When I found myself getting poisoned by this type of poison, I thought I was dead for sure. Jasmine spoke in a hushed tone as she looked at her palms. Now her soul was as pure as it was from the start. There was no sense of the absolute God slaying poison at all. She was far clearer about the terrors of this type of poison. Even primordial true gods would all eventually lose their lives after getting struck by this sort of poison. However, she lived, and she had even completely purified the absolute God-slaying poison. Furthermore, she had used not even 7 years' worth of time. Hey, it was clearly my effort, all right. It was fortunate that I picked up you that night behind the Zyro household and coincidentally had the sky poison pearl on me. Otherwise, Yun Qi said with indignation. Jasmine sneered and spoke in disdain. HMPH, if you didn't meet me, even if you didn't die 1,000 times, you would have still died 800 times. Yun Qi was unable to reply. There's another thing that I can pretty much tell you now. Jasmine lifted her delicate cheeks, which were even more delicate than a clay doll's, and said with a hint of pride, "Back then, when I claimed to have sealed my profound energy, it's actually false." After Jasmine finished, She waited for Xianxia to reveal a shocked or crazed expression, however, after hearing what she said. Xianxia merely looked at her in silence, then nodded. "Oh, I knew. You knew." The shocked person became Jasmine. "When did you know?" It was approximately the time on the primordial profound arc. Xianxia rested both of his hands behind his head and leaned onto the ice wall. Then he softly said, "During the 18 months that the primordial profound arc withstood the spatial storm, every time my body and spirit was about to collapse, the spatial storm would suddenly slow down and allow me to have a short time to catch my breath. For 18 months, the period of time that I could withstand it increased, but every single time, it would slow down at the point where I was about to collapse. There was not even one exception. During those 18 months, all of my efforts was spent on surviving, and I couldn't spare any of it to think about anything else. After the spatial storm stopped, I thought back to that 18 months. Then I started to suspect that you must have interfered with the spatial storm. That's because it was impossible for there to be 18 months of coincidences, not to mention that you and I shared the same body. Thus you would be able to clearly feel when I would reach the breaking point." "Then why didn't you point it out?" Jasmine looked at Xianxia in confusion. She did interfere with the spatial storm, and the primordial profound arc stopping at the illusory demon realm was also due to her accidentally interfering with the primordial profound arc's tracks. You didn't seem to have even thought about borrowing my power when you met Duke Ming in Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley, even when you got pushed to a desperate situation and nearly died in his hands. That's because I know the reason why you are doing this. I knew that you didn't want me to subconsciously rely on you, which would, in turn, affect my growth severely. Furthermore, I was only guessing. I have always worked hard to tell and hint at myself that it was only a guess. Thus I had to use my full power and rely on myself in any situation, instead of relying on your power that might have not been sealed. It's that simple." Jasmine's pink cheeks puffed up. Xianxia might not even see her cute look of annoyance once every 3 years. Just as he was about to tease her, he suddenly thought of something. He momentarily blanked, then he leaped up. His upper body directly leaped in front of Jasmine as he asked in extreme anxiety, "Jasmine, all of the devilish poison has been purified. Does that mean that you can use your power as you please? Quick, help me search for Little Fairy's location. This was something you promised me at the start." "All right." Jasmine wrapped her arms in front of her chest and nodded. She already knew that the first thing Xianxia would think of after learning that her devilish poison had been purified would be to use her power to find the location of Chu Yuechen. That was precisely the reason she appeared in front of Xianxia right now. She knew more clearly than anyone how Chu Yuechen had always been a thorn in the depths of his soul. Every time it was touched, his heart would hurt. Since the devilish poison has been purified, she should help him pluck this thorn quickly. Although I am currently a soul form and can only use 1,000th of my complete form's power, it is enough for my mind to cover a puny, profound sky continent. With that, Jasmine put a small hand on Xianxia's sleeve. Before Xianxia could say anything, he felt a flash in front of his eyes, and a snow-white region appeared before his eyes. It looked like he was already over 300 meters from the ground. Xianxia momentarily blanked before realizing that he had been transported from the ice chamber to such a height in an instant. He had actually traveled through space so quickly. Or perhaps this actually was space travel. I need 200 breaths of time, so don't disturb me. Also, Black Moon Merchant Guild's previous reply to your inquiry should have given you enough mental preparation. You must accept the result no matter what it is." Jasmine stretched out her arms and slowly closed her eyes. A layer of invisible power that was so great that Xianxia couldn't even sense or understand was released. It surrounded the area, and then the entire profound sky continent. In the blink of an eye, the aura of all living things on the profound sky continent was within her mind. Nothing was able to escape her. Xianxia retracted his profound energy and held his breath, not daring to make any sound at all. At the same time, he found it difficult to calm down from the shock and excitement in his heart. What shocked him the most was what Jasmine had just said. Her soul form could only use 1,000th of the power of her complete form. This meant that all of the power Jasmine had displayed up to this point was under the limitation of not having a complete body, and being only in her soul form, she had only displayed a mere 1,000th of her full power. Just how terrifyingly powerful was her true power, and just how terrifying of an existence was that world where she grew up in. It was unfathomable. Xianxia couldn't understand what sort of ability she used to have her mind cover an entire continent. He could only sense that Jasmine was concentrating hard, so he tried his best to suppress his deepest wishes and anxiety in order to prevent himself from making a sound. "Little fairy, you have to be safe." "No, you must be safe. You are just living in a place that the Black Moon Merchant Guild cannot find. I'll immediately come and find you and our child. This time, no matter who it is, even if the entire world objects, I will never let you leave my side again." With each passing breath of time, Yun Qi's anxiety increased. When he could almost no longer bear it, he saw Jasmine slowly open her eyes and put down her raised arms. Yun Qi's heart shook as he held his breath and asked anxiously, "How is it? Did you find her? Where is the little fairy? Also, did you find King Yu?" Jasmine just looked at him with emotionless eyes. After a moment, she said, "No. I underestimated the number of living things in profound sky continent. Furthermore, I am currently in a soul form, so the power I can use is far lower than what I expected. It seems like we will have to wait until I can reconstruct my body before I can help you find your little fairy." Obvious disappointment flashed across Yun Qi's face, but he quickly relaxed. "All right, we'll go to the Supreme Ocean Palace 2 months later and get that Netherworld Udambara flower no matter what. Hopefully, however, the Netherworld Udambara flower only blooms once every 24 years. The place that Zai Jai described sounds quite strange, so I don't have much hope," Jasmine said plainly as she looked away without meeting Yun Qi's gaze. Yun Qi stared at Jasmine for a short while, then he suddenly smiled. "That's strange. You were always so anxious to reconstruct your body. Now that we only lack one Netherworld Udambara flower, why does it seem like you're no longer that anxious? It can't be that. You are reluctant to leave me, right?" Jasmine looked sideways and laughed coldly. "It's the opposite. This princess wants to leave you, the contemptible, shameless, dirty, super pervert even in my dreams, so you will stop polluting my eyes and ears." HMMPH? With a cold snort, Jasmine stopped caring about him. She turned into a red light and returned to the sky poison pearl. However, not before she reminded him, "You should go to the East Sea to have your final battle with Fen Juchen. In these 3 months, you didn't listen to me in stealing Feng Zuer's Phoenix Vital Yin. I do wish to see how you're going to defeat Fen Juchen, who is going to be far stronger than he was 3 months ago." After returning to the world of the sky poison pearl, Jasmine frowned and did not let her expression relax for a long time. A layer of sullenness also covered her snow-white face. After shouting that one last thing to Yun Qi, she let out a quiet sigh as mixed emotions flashed through her eyes. Gabung, Honger was quite happily eating on a sword that she was holding and had gotten from who knows where. When she saw Jasmine's appearance, she stopped chewing and got closer to Jasmine. "Big sis Jasmine, what's wrong? You were clearly very happy just now, so why do you seem unhappy now? Did Master bully you? Oh no, never mind. Master has always been bullied by you. He doesn't dare to bully you," she said. Jasmine leaned on Honger's bed and sat down, then she closed her eyes slowly as she muttered, couldn't find, oh, couldn't find what? Is it something delicious?" Honger concentrated a lot. "A person very important for your master." Every time Jasmine thought about Yun Qi's intense reaction to Chu Yuechen's situation, she would frown even more. She clearly understood that Yun Qi felt love, as well as intense care and worry, for Chu Yuechen. Seeing Yun Qi suffer at the hands of women was one of Jasmine's greatest joy. If there was a day that Yun Qi was going to be stabbed multiple times by a woman that he was about to extend his fiendish hands to, she would be smug. However, because this was Chu Yuechen, she couldn't bear to tell him the truth. "Important person? Oh." Hearing that it wasn't something delicious, Honger instantly lost all interest and just stopped asking. She grabbed a hold of the broadsword flashing with purple light in her hands and bit down. A tidy bite mark appeared was left on the sword. "It looks like I can only temporarily hide it," Jasmine muttered quietly to herself. "But why couldn't I even find Xia Qinyu's scent? Could it be that teleportation formation in Frozen End Divine Hall?" It was already mid-morning, and the time of Yun Qi and Fen Juchen's promised battle was approaching. Not only had Fen Juchen's profound energy become beyond terrifying, he also hated Yun Qi to the bone. His greatest wish for the remainder of his life was to kill Yun Qi. However, Yun Qi was not nervous at all. Only when he had less than an hour until the promised battle did Yun Qi ride the primordial profound arc with Feng Zuer to Floating Cloud City. The primordial profound arc arrived not above Floating Cloud City, but the eastern suburbs of Floating Cloud City instead. After leaving the primordial profound arc, Feng Zuer held the corner of Yun Qi's clothes tightly in her hands and said with an intimate expression, "Big brother Yun, can I really not go with you?" I'm still really worried. I told you I'll be fine. Xianxia smiled casually. I said that it was a one-on-one battle with Fen Juchen, so there should definitely be no one else there. Furthermore, even if I can't beat him, I still have the primordial profound arc, so I can escape really far away at any time. That's why you don't need to worry at all. What's more, I have absolute confidence in defeating him. And, of course, I believe Big Brother Yun. Feng Zhuer nodded lightly, however her eyes still revealed deep worry. All right, go to Grandpa and Little Aunt. I might not be able to return until after dark, so tell them not to worry at all. I will try to move the place where we fight further away, but the residue impact might still hit Floating Cloud City, so I'll need Zhuer to protect them. Xianxia patted Feng Zhuer's hands. From the beginning, he had not planned to see Xiao Lai and Xiao Lingxi before the fight, as that would only increase their worry. Also, if Little Aunt is determined to find me, you definitely can't let her, Xianxia reminded her. And I know, don't worry, Big Brother Yun, nothing will happen to any of them with me here, Feng Zhuer softly said. With Feng Zhuer's strength as a monarch in the 8th level, even if Xianxia, Fen Juchen, and Xia Yuanba worked together, they wouldn't be her opponent at all. Naturally, Xianxia didn't have to worry with her at Xiao Lingxi and Xiao Lai's side. Then I'll be off. I'll definitely be back before it gets completely dark. Be obedient and wait for me. Xianxia cupped Feng Zhuer's face and kissed her deeply. After that, he activated the extreme mirage lightning, instantly becoming a ray of lightning that shot toward the east. Big Brother Yun, as Feng Zhuer looked at Xianxia's fleeting image, she nervously clasped her hands together in front of her. Only after a long while did she turn around and fly very slowly towards Floating Cloud City. With his current strength coupled with the extreme mirage lightning, a distance of several hundred kilometers was nothing to Xianxia. He flew over the territory of Floating Cloud City and through a piece of wetland, then soon after, profound Sky East Sea's coastline came into sight. Xianxia immediately accelerated once more and got further and further away from Floating Cloud City. Within thousands of miles, there were no clouds or winds, and the East Sea was also very calm. There was only a ripple on the surface of the ocean. As the coastline neared, an intense smell of the ocean filled the air. Xianxia closed his eyes and inhaled. When he opened his eyes, a blue ocean entered his sight. He had arrived on top of the East Ocean. At this moment, Xianxia also decelerated until he stopped. There was a black and lonely figure floating in front of him. It was unknown how long that figure had been there. That figure's entire body released a lifeless aura and a bone-piercing cold. Aside from that, it didn't possess the sense of life that a living person would have. It was as if the person floating there was not a living person, but a corpse. Even the ocean underneath him was completely silent without any ripples, as if it was dead water that had been robbed of life. It looks like you have arrived rather early. Xianxia stopped several hundred meters behind him and smiled faintly. The aura on Fen Juchen was extremely dark and evil. It was enough to induce terror in any other person that got close to him, but it was not enough to affect Xianxia. When the black-clothed figure turned around, a pair of pitch-black eyes focused on Xianxia. His expression was stiff and pale, while his eyes were lifeless without any light. In merely an instant, dense, rampaging murderous aura and killing intent that was extremely evil locked onto Xianxia. The pair of pitch-black eyes released out a light that was so dark that it seemed to form into two swords that would rip Xianxia's body apart. You actually dared to come by yourself, Fen Juchen sullenly said. There were no other things here, so he could release his hatred and killing intent towards Xianxia as much as he wanted. Otherwise, Xianxia had his hands across his chest, while his face clearly showed an expression on despise. When I slaughtered your entire burning heaven clan by myself back then, I was alone. Now I only need to deal with you, a pitiful insect that I mercifully let go back then. Would I need some sort of a helper? You are courting death. Xianxia's words undoubtedly caused Fen Juchen's anger and killing intent to explode out. He roared like a wild beast as his right arm rushed out. A large pitch-black hand reached out from the sky and grabbed at Xianxia. In the area that the large pitch-black hand covered, the sea level instantly lowered by several meters. Xianxia squinted his eyes. His figure blinked as he dodged the large pitch-black hand with Star God's broken shadow. Afterwards, he laughed coldly. You were enraged to this extent by a simple sentence. It seems like despite your profound energy having strengthened quite a bit these years, your heart did not. What right do you, who is like this, have to defeat me? Boom. With a loud and extremely deep roar, an enormous whirlpool emerged below Xianxia, producing a flurried sea breeze. Fen Juchen's eyes transformed into a bloody demon eyes as the aura around his body became even more violent. We're still not that far from Floating Cloud City. You don't want our fight to affect Floating Cloud City, right? Yun Qi's sentence shut Fen Juchen up. You don't want others to notice and come disturb our fight to death either, right? Let's pick a more suitable place. With that, Yun Qi flew towards the deeper area of the East Sea without waiting for Fen Juchen's reply. Fen Juchen continued to lock his dark eyes onto Yun Qi, but he did not attack once again. He merely followed closely behind Yun Qi and flew towards the east. His speed was no worse than Yun Qi's extreme mirage lightning. Jasmine, just what profound energy level is he at right now? I can clearly feel that his aura is much stronger than 3 months ago, Yun Qi cautiously asked. Level 6 of the Sovereign Profound Realm, Jasmine said coldly. He is the same level as the Feng Tianwei that caused you to flee in an unsightly manner at Divine Phoenix Sect. Although his profound energy is not as dense as Feng Tianwei's, his profound art is special. Overall, he might even be slightly stronger than Feng Tianwei. Let's see how you handle it. Wow, that's insane. Although Yun Qi had prepared himself mentally, he still took a deep breath. 3 months ago, Fen Juchen was only at the 5th level of the Sovereign Profound Realm. Even with a force that had as much resources as the Sacred Grounds or the Guardian Families, an increase in a small level of the Sovereign Profound Realm would still take 100 years or several hundred years. Even if his talent was absurd, that would still take several tens of years. However, Fen Juchen merely used 3 months. Just what is going on with his absurd power and growth? Yun Qi muttered softly. When you fight, try to force him to go all out as much as possible. As long as he used his profound energy, I might be able to figure him out, including the soul he fused with. The two of them, one chasing after the other, moved deep into the sacred ground with a speed that no mere mortal could ever comprehend. In order to prevent the clash of their profound energy from afflicting Floating Cloud City, Yun Qi tried his best to pull the distance. From 50 kilometers to 100 kilometers, and then to 150 kilometers. When he looked back, the coastline had already disappeared from his sight. Yun Qi finally stopped after an entire 300 kilometers. They arrived at an archipelago. Within his line of sight, there was a large amount of reefs and small islands scattered all over like stars in the sky or chess pieces on a chessboard. In this place, the ocean breeze was no longer gentle. The waves below them were surging. The wind was whizzing by their ears. Their hair was completely blown into a mess, and their clothes were rustling. Let's fight here. Yun Qi turned around to face Fen Juchen. In this place, he could release all of his strength without any restraint. You found yourself a pretty nice grave. The whites of Fen Juchen's eyes had almost disappeared as his eyes released a devilish, sinister light. On their way here, his murderous aura and killing intent had completely locked on Yun Qi, not even diminishing one bit throughout the journey. This made Yun Qi, who was flying in the front, feel that there was a pitch-black knife hanging at the back of his heart the entire time. Looks like you are very confident in killing me today. Yun Qi's hair tie was already blown loose. His black hair was wildly fluttering in the air under the sway of the strong ocean breeze, revealing grace and elegance, completely different from Fen Juchen's somber aura. There were 70,000 people within my burning heaven clan. My father, my master, my grandfather were all killed by you. The enmity between us and my hatred towards you is an irreconcilable gulf. I've experienced hell that you can never imagine just so I can kill you. One reason that I am still trying to stay alive until now is to rip you into tens of thousands of pieces. Today, not only will I make you pay for your blood debt, I will also make you taste all the pain that I have suffered. Fen Juchen roared. The expression on his face was terrifyingly ferocious, and the black energy surrounding him was moving restlessly. An unimaginable hell, Yun Qi scoffed. There is no one worthy enough to mention hell in front of me yet, not even you. The people that I have killed in my life is a lot more than the people that you have seen in your life. I've almost forgotten about the small burning heaven clan with a mere population of 70,000 people. Only back then, when I killed people, I would eliminate them completely and spare all later trouble. As for you, if it wasn't for little Ant who asked to spare your life, your bones would have already eroded into dust by now. Not only do you not thank me for sparing your life and cherish the life that I granted you, you came with some odd confidence and claiming that you're going to kill me. Haven't seen you for several years, but you haven't grown or improved at all. You are still on your high horse, just an arrogant, prideful, poor idiot. Amen. One of the reasons that he is staying alive. Did it mean that he had others he wanted to kill? The originally blowing ocean breeze instantly stopped right then. The surface of the ocean had also completely stopped churning as the entire world suddenly sank into a deathly stillness, no longer producing any hint of sound. The black energy on Fen Juchen's body rose, soaring almost to the sky. His eyes were even more pitch black. Like an endless abyss, Xianxia's speech was extremely malicious, causing Fen Juchen's originally intense murderous intent and hatred to wildly flare up and burn. Hunger prepared a fight. Inside the sky-poisoned pearl, Jasmine called the deeply slumbering in hunger. Then she looked at the outside world with interest as she muttered to herself, "He's purposely making Fen Juchen even more angrier, and this Fen Juchen is enraged as expected." Clang. A red light flashed in Xianxia's hands, and the Heaven-Smiting Devil Slayer sword appeared. The instant he held the Heaven-Smiting Devil Slayer sword in hand, both his hands fiercely sunk. If not for his reaction speed being fast enough, his body would have nearly lost balance, causing him to fall into the ocean. At number percent, the weight of the Heaven-Smiting Devil Slayer sword in his hands had increased explosively, and there was also a slightly difference in the sword force as well as the vermilion light it released. The instant the sword's body appeared, a huge change occurred. The blue waves of the ocean became tremendously imposing. It was just that the unsightly sleeping position of a pocket-sized young girl inside the pearl, attached to the body and hilt of the sword, diluted much of this world-shaking aura. "Hunger, you've been sneaking in food again, haven't you?" Xianxia roared with his mind. Since the time he had last summoned it, the Heaven-Smiting Devil Slayer sword was at least more than 50,000 kilograms heavier. Its sword force had also become rich, powerful to the point where it had almost broke free from his control. He was 10,000% sure that not only had Hunger been eating food on the sly, she had definitely been eating a lot of it too. As if she had heard Xianxia's roar, Hunger let out a whimper in her sleep. However, she did not awaken and only swapped postures as she continued sleeping. Xianxia was now 20,000% sure that Hunger had definitely been pilfering quite a lot of things to eat, because every time she had eaten her full, she would go into a long slumber. Crack, as a black streak of lightning crackled within Fen Juchen's hands. An entirely pitch-black longsword with a strange black wreathing radiance was then grasped within them. "Xianxia, I want you to die without an intact corpse." "With just you?" Xianxia sneered in disdain. He glanced at the pitch-black sword in Fen Juchen's hand and revealed a deep, scornful expression. Then he straightforwardly swung the Heaven-Smiting sword, withdrawing Hunger back into the sky-poisoned pearl. "This kind of inferior Emperor Profound sword is your weapon?" "Heh." Profound ridicule, disdain, and even distinct pity hung on Xianxia's face. "This kind of trash that I don't even bother to even glance at actually seems to be your most treasured weapon, huh? So pitiful. Pitiful to the point where I feel embarrassed to use my Heaven-Smiting sword to fight with you, because that's seriously bullying you too hard." In the face of Fen Juchen's already overflowing hatred and rage, Xianxia seemed to not feel that it was enough as his malicious words ruthlessly stung and humiliated Fen Juchen's mental state and soul, which was on the verge of losing control. Not only had Xianxia withdrew the Heaven-Smiting sword, he had even curbed a large amount of the aura on his body as well. He then extended a finger at Fen Juchen, beckoning him in extreme mockery. "Because of that lousy sword of yours, I find it embarrassing to even use the Heaven-Smiting sword to fight against you. If I used it, I'd feel like I'm bullying you. Since you are this desperate to kill me, then I'll give you a decent opportunity today. I'll give you 8 hours." Facing Fen Juchen's completely twisted face, Xianxia actually beamed as he stretched 4 fingers outward. "You haven't heard wrongly, an entire 8 hours. In these 8 hours, I won't hit back, nor would I flee too far, and I'll let you attack as you wish. Let me see if you have the ability to kill me in these 8 hours of time when I'm not even going to retaliate. If you can't even kill me like this," Xianxia's smile became sarcastic and despising, "then never appear in front of me and embarrass yourself again." Boom. A raging billow shot up behind Fen Juchen, soaring up to at least 300 meters in height. In these few years when his soul had been undergoing fusion, his profound strength had explosively risen to the sovereign profound realm from the spirit profound realm. At first, he totally believed that it would be extremely easy for the current him to kill Xianxia. The only thing he had to consider was just how he should execute it so that Xianxia would die in the most miserable way. He had to at least suffer through 1,000 kinds of torment and go through every kind of pain. But now that he was finally up against Xianxia, What he found on his opponent's face was not fear or beseechment, but the contempt and mockery that he despised the most in his life. "You will regret every word that you have said." Each and every one of the words Fen Juchen spat out was so grim that it seemed as though they had come from the deepest layer of hell. Boundless hatred and killing intent congested in his body's every cell, drop of blood and wisp of soul. The instant his voice fell, the color of the sky seemed to have darkened. Oh, Xianxia subconsciously lifted his head up at the sky. The originally cloudless azure sky darkened at a speed discernible to the naked eye. A heavy darkness slowly pressed downward from every direction, as though there was a dark demon god was silently swallowing this world. What's going on? The shocking change severely stunned Xianxia. 3 months ago, he had only fought once with Fen Juchen. At that time, the sky also dimmed a little, but compared to this, it was like the difference between heaven and earth. Fen Juchen's power was extremely peculiar. He had already mentally prepared for that, but he never expected that the full release of power under Fen Juchen's rage would actually trigger this kind of strange scene that could be called a supernatural phenomenon. Thick darkness continued sink downwards, swallowing every hint of light as a terrifying aura filled the world. The tides restlessly churned as waves roiled in disorder. The originally azure ocean region had now astonishingly transformed into a pitch-black color. Even the churning surface of the ocean was suffused with a clear black radiance. This is... Jasmine's deep bewilderment came from inside Xianxia's mind. Because the scene before her ruthlessly stirred the depths of Jasmine's soul, a memory that came from an ancient star god. A name, an extremely frightening name that shouldn't exist in this world, appeared in her soul. Swallowing the sky and sun, an eternal night without light, illusory devil tome of eternal night. Xianxia was instantly stunned. That's the profound art Fen Juchen is using. Could it be that you've seen this kind of strange, profound art in your world? I have not seen it. Or I should say, no one should have ever seen it in the entire primal chaos dimension. Jasmine's voice was low, but Xianxia could clearly feel how severely shocked this made her feel. And what she had said also mystified Xianxia even more. "Don't get distracted," Jasmine suddenly yelled. "I still cannot confirm whether or not that is the illusory devil tome of eternal night. No matter what you do today, you must defeat him. If you can't, I will take care of it personally. I need to know all of the secret of this person." Jasmine's tone of voice was so serious that it alerted Xianxia. He stopped asking more questions, and now was not the time to push for answers. He immediately focused his mind. The profound strength of his whole body started flustering. The expression of his eyes changed back to the despise from before as he spoke neither too fast or too slow. "Attack me. Don't forget that I only gave you 8 hours. Let me see if you really have the ability to kill me, or if you're still merely a condescending and weak piece of garbage." The darkness was still spreading. Xianxia just then realized that a huge, dark whirlpool had suddenly appeared behind Fen Juchen. The dark whirlpool was expanding. The blackness was incredibly pure, as though it was a black hole that could swallow anything in the world. "Careful, this is a dark domain. Either use all of your strength to rip it open or escape as soon as possible," Jasmine said in a low voice. Originally, she didn't care too much when Xianxia arranged a battle with Fen Juchen. She was only interested in know under the great difference in strength, what kind of despicable and shameless ways Xianxia would use to win. But now, with Fen Juchen being enraged, he was using all of his strength. It made Jasmine feel a severe shock that she had never had before in her mind and soul.